What's up, guys? I think that's good.
That James Brown?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
What I got going on in here? Fucking get down. Get up off of that thing. Dude, I've been listening to so much funk music lately. I've been getting into listening to a bunch of James Brown, and a lot of those songs I'm like, this shit would be good to roll to. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah, it's got that good vibe.
Well, we didn't get our hip blown out.
I know, right? I took it down before.
Is that something that's happened before?
Yeah. When he was still playing around with the intro.
Trying to get the levels right on it. Sometimes whenever it'd start playing, it would be triple that loud. So as soon as you hear it, it just blows out your eardrum basically.
Gotcha.
But we good. Where you going? Oh. Modelos. Yeah. What's up, guys? Mike, Chris, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks
Good
for
to see
having
you
us.
guys. Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Not too bad. Keeping the stash close over here.
Gotta do what we gotta do. Oh, do we have a bottle opener? All right. Who needs a beer? You want a beer? Beer?
Yeah. I'm good for now.
Okay.
Still sipping on the high noon. And this green mixture we got here.
Mm-hmm. A
That's
green
that
dragon.
good
Mm-hmm. You don't expect it too. It tastes so good.
It does taste
You
good.
know what I mean? It tastes super good.
I thought it was a mix of alcohol. And,
Nope.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Just that good old all natural green drink, you know?
Grain drink.
That green drink. Thanks, sir.
Yes. I haven't had Modelo's for a while now.
Man, it's been a minute
I
for me.
forgot how smooth it is.
Yeah, I like Modelo. My favorite Mexican beer is Victoria. But
Yeah,
I've never had that.
that's a good
I
one.
love Victoria. You usually don't you have to go. You can get it if you go to Bevmo or some of those other places, but you usually don't find it just at your stores around here.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Fancy shit?
I guess, I don't know.
And
It was
Mexican beer.
yeah. I found it whenever I did my foreign exchange program and lived in Mexico for the summer. That's whenever I found out about it and started drinking that. And I was like, this is great.
Do you guys get into craft beers at all?
I'll drink any beers, man. I mean, I'm not a hobbyist or anything for craft beers, but
The craft beer, I guess, scene was real big back in Buffalo.
yeah.
Yeah, there were a ton of local breweries, and if you were going out to a bar, some of the best bars were bars that made their own beers.
Yeah.
You ever try it? Making your own?
I haven't. My brother has.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
We make our own wine.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Christina makes.
It's very good too.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
wow.
excellent.
Shit.
I'll have to try some next time.
So where do you get your when you make your own wine? Where do you guys get your grapes from?
She orders them.
Yeah.
She orders them, and she has all the equipment. So
Does she order it already as a mash, or does she make it herself?
yeah, I think it's already mashed.
Okay, yeah. I was looking actually into that same thing because I was just wondering about it. Because actually I was looking into making balsamic vinegar.
Oh yeah.
And to make real good balsamic vinegar is kind of close to making wine in a sense.
Really?
You have to use a good mash, a good mix of grapes and stuff. Fermentation process and everything's a little different. But real balsamic vinegar only comes from Italy, or supposedly, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy because they have aged balsamic. I mean, 60 years old.
Wow.
80 years old.
No way.
And I think
Is it traded like wine?
it can be. Yeah, it can be. It's actually it's crazy. It's one of those markets you don't ever hear about or think about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like olive oil, same
Yeah.
thing. It's a crazy cutthroat market. You know what I mean? Olive oil market's actually insane.
the olive oil market.
The olive oil market. It's controlled. Most of it's controlled by the Italian mafias.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So a lot of
That
it's
shit's
fake.
deep, huh?
That's
It goes
crazy.
real deep.
Oh, shit.
A lot of it's fake because they're just trying to push profit out.
Right.
So most of the time you have to find I don't know. You can look and find the right brands, but
Do they have like a sommelier
yeah,
type
right.
person for
Yeah,
olive
I mean
oil?
they'll actually like test it and stuff because
Really?
yeah, it's no joke. Like
Sorry, man, you got some of that bootleg
yeah,
olive oil.
the olive oil game is a real thing, man. That shit's crazy, dude. People be getting killed over some olive oil and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's fucking crazy, man.
But some hard R's get thrown over olive oil and shit. Like, well, that didn't take long.
So this is the first weekend after Worlds. I had some questions that I wanted to ask you, specifically you, Chris.
Okay.
So what's your mentality like when you're going into a match?
So honestly, for me, I don't think like when it comes to tournaments, competitions, like I'm better in the gym than I am in competition. I think I kind of let the pressure get to me sometimes. But what I've noticed, because I think twice at purple belt, I competed in the absolute division, which I've never done before.
Yeah.
And going into that, when you're already expected to lose, like that makes it so much easier for me.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of felt the same way going to Master Worlds, where I'm like, man, there's people coming from all over the world in my division. So these guys obviously know they have something.
Right.
So yeah, that actually made it a lot easier. Less pressure for me.
Oh, okay.
When I'm going into a bigger tournament where maybe like I'm not, favored to win or.
So that stress factor never really goes away then, even though, because you compete pretty much at every single tournament, don't you?
Yeah, I try to.
Wow.
And I've done that my whole career.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. But
Yep.
so the stress level, is it different at Worlds as versus like a local tournament?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was less.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like at the smaller tournaments too, you're kind of, there's more of a team mentality, I think, when you're at these smaller tournaments, because it's like, oh, we come from DeBoa, we got this really strong team, so you want to go out there and show that, and you got your whole team there watch, which granted, there was, we had people come out to Vegas for Worlds, but there's a lot bigger of a group at the closer tournaments, so you got everybody watching, which then adds to it, and I just...
see.
It is what it is.
And
But
like you said too, man, you roll with so many of these guys, right? So when it's a local tournament, you see all the same faces, and it's like, yeah, they're there to support you, but still, you want to show out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You definitely want to show out, and I agree too with the bigger stage tournament. Like, I feel more I'm more insignificant on that like bigger stage, so it's easier for me to go into that feeling like there's not as much pressure on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool to see you on TV.
Yeah. Right.
Did you make anybody's highlight reel?
I don't think so, man. My first match I felt was the highlight reel for me. Second one, not so much.
But to see it filmed in a way like all the professional matches are filmed.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Were you were watching on Flow Grappling then?
We couldn't get it.
Oh, really?
We had him on, but he never came up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we don't know what happened. If it was a delay from when it was broadcast, we
could have been discrimination. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't like you.
they weren't showing any of the DeBoa team matches.
They knew it
because they heard.
They knew it.
But then that's one of the other things too, is like we're a school that we really do very well in competition. So then when you go and you're like, oh, okay, well, those guys won their matches and now I'm up. So you want to continue that. So then that's even a little bit more pressure.
Yeah.
So.
Is this your first Worlds? Or?
It was.
Was it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. First
At
time.
Brown Belt.
First Worlds.
At Brown Belt.
At Brown Belt.
And
That's
how long
crazy.
have you been brown belt? No.
Over a year.
I'm not, has it been?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not good with my timelines.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with them.
Yeah, because you came in at purple, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I spent like 5.5 years at purple,
Really?
which I had a couple injuries, and then that mixed with moving out here and traveling for work.
Yeah.
Like I was only coming into the gym on open mats essentially. So it took a little bit.
How long did you spend at blue then?
I think it was like 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah, about
Okay.
2 at white.
Yeah, I think I got my 4-year reminder yesterday when I got my blue belt.
Okay. Okay.
But you same thing though, man. You've had injuries. And
Yeah,
shit,
I had 2
you know what
years,
I mean?
a
So,
2-year layoff.
Oh,
so-
okay. Gotcha.
yeah, because you didn't come in long after me, right?
Yeah, I think it was maybe not even a month.
Yeah.
Maybe around a month.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all, man. it's crazy how long it's been open now. DeBoa is, and then same thing to tie into like with the Masters Worlds, to see everybody compete here, and then to know like when we go to a world stage like that. I mean, we've got a gym that can show up.
Yeah, for sure.
And 6 people medaled.
Yep.
So
Yep.
out of 20 competitors, that's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's it's crazy. Jiu-jitsu is such a it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like there's so many elements to it as far as not even just training, but then you add in the elements of competing, and it's a whole different ball game, whole different beast, you know. And so fun though, man.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I liked most about going out to Vegas for Worlds was that, and I've thought about this a little bit before, but it's like you spend so much time with these people that you train with. Like you see them 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week, but it's always just kind of like pleasantries, you roll, and that's it. So being able to, all stay in a house and go out on the strip and, whatever, just hanging out with each other, and getting to know people on a deeper level was really cool.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say too, like our group this year, like everybody was there for like all the matches basically, you know what I mean? And everybody relatively stayed together and hung out together, and like you were saying with the house, with so many of us being at the house too, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting, man. You definitely, to touch on you're saying, you don't hang out with any of these people. Like we know each other basically from training more so than anything else,
yeah, but you see these people more than you see a lot of your own friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that everything is kind of becoming cohesive again, because there was a little while there, maybe like right after they broke down the wall in the original spot, where the gym kind of expanded a little bit too fast. And like I was seeing new faces left and right. I didn't know who anybody was.
Really?
Yeah. So now I think we have a bigger core group than before, because our core group before was like 10 people.
Yeah.
And then everybody else to us kind of felt like outsiders, and we weren't really sure. You get that feeling of who's going to stick around, who's not going to stick around.
Yeah.
But now we kind of have a feeling of who's going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling, man.
And there's so many people that drop off from jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember what they say the stat is, but it's not 1 in 10. It's way less than that make it to blue belt. So yeah.
Staggering, man.
A lot of people come and go.
It's definitely a sport I wish I would have learned or started learning way earlier in life.
Right.
That's for sure. Before my body was already starting to break down.
Yeah.
I go back and forth thinking about that because especially playing sports and everything growing up, I was always in sports up until I graduated high school, until actually I moved out here, played sports back home. And then I lost that competitive edge, didn't do anything for a long time, and then I started training jiu-jitsu almost 7 years ago, so brought that back. But like in that time in between, man, like if I would have found jiu-jitsu when I was like 19 or 20, I don't know if I would have been able to like take away what I've taken away now from it. As far as like, I was more immature at that point. I was like partying all the time and doing other shit.
True.
So I would have abused that kind of like privilege, or I would have abused what we do and like taken it more for granted, I think, at that younger age myself, you know what I mean? So injury wise though, yeah, man, like I wish like peak performance and stuff, like I wish I was, at a younger age, but.
Well, I wonder what our kids, how mine specifically have been training since they were like 5 or maybe 7 and 10, and you fast forward, like you're learning all the same movements, that we're learning as adults, and by the time they get to our age, just the advantage that you're going to have.
Yeah, you see a lot of kids, like, they just stay at it, right? But, I mean, again, too, like, starting at a young age, how many of them, like, go through and keep
Right.
training for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
there's a high turnaround rate for kids as well.
Yeah.
My son started at 3, 10 now, or 12 now, and he's kind of over it.
Yeah.
Not wanting to really train. I
Yeah.
try not to push it too hard, but at the same time, I want him sticking with it like a class or 2 a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, Charles is over. He's been over for over a year now, I think. He's just whatever. He's into volleyball now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sports, man. You
Yeah,
know, any
doing
sports is
something
good.
at least.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, but Beckham's kind of at that point too. He's got the BMX bikes that he's gotten into, and he's kind of back into soccer, which is real weird.
Yeah.
Soccer's fun.
Maybe
though.
they'll come back around to it, man. Who
You
knows?
never know, right? You
I just
can't
never would
push
have
it
thought
if
he
it's
would have
gonna
come
help.
back.
Yeah. I wish for like my girls, now they haven't trained for a couple years, but I wish for them in an aspect of their ages and the way things are now for kids and stuff. I wish they would at least train for the self-defense aspect.
Exactly.
For sure.
Right.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like that's a big thing for me being a father of 2 girls that one's already a teenager and the other's about to be, you know, going forward. It's like, man, I know how I was when I was like 16, 17, 18, like these kids
yeah.
now, it's crazier, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're doing that at like
So,
9, 10, 11.
you know, yeah. So I would like them from that aspect. I wish they still train, but again, their choice, you know what I mean? They stay active, they play basketball, they do other shit. So that's cool, but maybe they'll come back to it one day, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I keep hoping.
Yeah.
Right. That's something else I think about too. And maybe not so much you with girls, but having, 2 boys and Mike having a son also, you kind of think about like, and I didn't grow up with my dad around, so I guess I didn't really have this experience, but you get to that point where your son's like thinking he can start taking you, right? Like get into arguments or whatever. And he's like, I can beat the shit out of dad. Which like that's a weird dynamic, right? In regular life. But when you train jujitsu and like you and your son are like practicing all the time, like practicing this stuff,
Right.
that just kind of throws a
You can
different
settle.
dynamic.
You can settle some disputes.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, that is true, man. You at least you can you keep your edge. You know what I mean? You
Right.
got to keep it as long as you can.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean?
'Cause it ain't gonna last.
No,
until
no shit.
until they've outgrown that.
Right.
There is gonna be a turning point.
You'll be like, "What? I'm in Masters 5," and they're like, "Shh," you know,
Right,
like whatever.
How many masters are there?
I don't know.
I thought, I haven't looked at this in a really long time, but I thought a long time ago, like when I was a white or blue belt, I remember it being like it was masters up until a certain point, and then it was called seniors.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I remembered
Really?
seeing that, but
Wow.
I could be wrong.
yeah.
Sure.
I'm not sure what the top is, but there was a lady that was 60 years old,
Yeah.
Yeah, she got her
fighting.
black, right?
and I know like last time we went, I think there was a dude that was in his 70s or something that was rolling.
Yeah, I saw some pretty old guys last
72
time.
or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
There was a guy that came into our gym, and Andrew was like, "Hey, why don't you roll with him? Just kind of take it easy because he knows that I can set a pace. Like some people can't set that pace.
mhm.
But I want to say he was 82 years old.
Yeah,
We were rolling real slow, but he still felt kind of strong.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's
That's pretty cool.
amazing to be doing it still at that age.
We were coming from a jiu-jitsu tournament, walking through a building, and there was a judo tournament, and there were a bunch of they had to have been in their 70s just throwing each other.
How is that
That's
even possible?
scary.
I
That's
couldn't
freaking-
believe it.
ju-
They
like,
were
That's
moving.
hospital city right
They
there.
were
man.
moving around. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, that's crazy.
Like, have
Those-
you ever met like an older judo guy that isn't like, oh yeah, I got 2 new hips and this and
Dude, Dr.
like,
Mike, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know Judo Mike?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
That's
man.
who popped into my head as soon as
Right.
you started talking about
I mean,
this.
I love that guy, but
For sure.
geez, you see him like the way he walks
Yeah.
and like even when you roll with him and his movement, like
I don't know if I know who that is.
no,
No,
Mike?
you do. You've seen him.
you've got it. Yeah, he's a blue belt at our gym, but he's
Does he wear? I think he wears a blue gi.
yeah,
a
he
lot.
usually wears a blue
I
gi,
think
older
I
guy,
know who it is.
and he's into some pretty
He trained with
interesting-
Biggs back in the day, right?
Yeah. He's trained with a lot of guys, and then like his big background was like Olympic level judo, basically.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like he was a reserve on the Olympic teams and was
Wow.
always like training with those guys that were,
That's awesome.
you know,
That's some real abuse on your body getting thrown like
yeah,
that.
it is.
Like I know how I feel after a jiu-jitsu tournament for like the next week. Like you're just sore in places that you wouldn't normally be. Dude, getting slammed like that and then having somebody's body weight land on top of you. I don't know how they're not just busting ribs every day.
Again. Yeah, but look at the guys who who do Muay Thai, who are just kicking bamboo trees, just hardening them bones.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're doing that since the time you're little,
I mean,
if you just evolved to something different.
You look like any of the like high contact martial arts or mixed martial arts, even, right? Like there's a point, like you said, to the hardening of the body. But then at some point, you start to break down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can only take so much. And probably like that, you can kick bamboo trees all day. But when people start kicking your knees and people start kicking you in the ribs or you're blocking shots a bunch, like that's where the issues start coming in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you can condition your own body. But then when you add in the whole element of like it's a fight, it changes all of that. You know what I mean? Like we can do everything in the gym to prepare for it. But what is there to prepare? Like if you went out there and somebody like pops their ACL or, you get your ankle taken or some shit like that.
Yep.
And I always think to myself like, oh, that won't happen to me. You know what I mean? Like in the back of my head, I'm always like, that's not going to happen to me. But
right. You never know.
You never know. You know what I mean? So it's just a part of the sport and a part of competition.
For sure. What's interesting though? We had a guy come in. It was his first night. But he was like a wrestler, pretty big dude, really fast. And, you think it's somebody's first class, I remember mine, I was pretty timid. I wasn't like real eager to dive in.
And you also weren't a wrestler.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
And,
it's a different breed.
And this guy came at me like 100 miles an hour, but I just relied, like it was almost like the closest you could ever simulate to somebody attacking you and using jujitsu to protect yourself.
Yep.
And it works, and like this guy came at me and, you arm drag, you take the back and the next thing you know, they're tapping.
Yeah.
And if just that little bit of knowledge can take that aggression that, even for like a woman or somebody who would maybe be susceptible to being attacked.
For sure.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu works, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that closest to, when you see new people come in, right? Like that's the closest you're going to get to somebody out in public that doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
You know? So like when you see, and there are other two different types, right? Because I was the type, like you said, I was super timid. When I first went in, like, I didn't want to like grab anybody because I was thinking more like as soon as I grab them, I'm fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like mine started out as like I don't know what's you know what I mean, and you get that beat out of you, and then you get comfortable being close or grabbing, and then they go from there. But like you have that, or you have the guys that come in and for whatever reason they're like, oh, that shit ain't gonna work, and they come in like a bat out of hell. Yep. And you see that with wrestlers a lot, right? They come in just like crazy, but you get to see your jiu-jitsu work, and that's like that's a great feeling.
Really effectively. It was really weird because it was just like the muscle memory. It's like the stuff you're training all the time, but you don't get it. You don't get it because the guy that you're trying it against is seen you try that 7 or 8 times already.
Right.
And he's expecting it. But for somebody who is completely unsuspecting.
Everything works, right?
Everything works. They just don't know. It's like you're in, I remember being in that position when I first started. You just have attacks coming from everywhere.
Right.
And it's very disorienting.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I was the total opposite of you guys, man. I gave it everything I got for a solid minute and a half and blew my load, man.
Right.
And that was done, that. Dude. Yeah.
And then there's that guy.
Yeah. That's me.
I mean, shit. Though,
endurance, though, it's really an effective tool. You know, it's like somebody like that who isn't used to fighting on a regular basis, and then it's like we're used to going pretty hard for half an hour,
right?
And or even longer, and it's like you could really wear somebody down.
Yeah.
You're somebody who's not fighting on a regular basis if they were to attack you.
Like, could you imagine, like, you see those videos of, like, they hold somebody down in, like, a triangle, until, like, the cops come or something?
Yeah.
Like, that would suck to be that person. You get put in that position. And, like, anytime they choose to squeeze and start, like, getting you close to out, and then they just kind of release a little. You know what I mean?
What's that called? Edging?
Yeah, they're just literally getting edged. But, like, just, like, for literally until the cops got there. I mean, dude. Hey, jiu-jitsu saves lives, though, man.
Yes, it does.
You know?
It absolutely does.
It's a fucking awesome sport.
That's got to be a pretty emasculating thing.
To get beat up like that. I mean, dude, like, think about even, like, when you roll with, like, when you first start out, just rolling with girls that are good at jiu-jitsu or higher level. I mean, or even kids. You know what I mean? Like, rolling with Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Zave's not really a kid, though.
No, but I mean,
he's
like,
just young.
Dude, when we first started training Holo's son, Xavier, he was like 14, 15, and he rolled like a freaking adult. You know what I mean? And the first time, like second day I've ever trained, I'm rolling with him, and he's like handling me, moving me around, like diving in, just doing all this shit. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, this kid's like, in my head, I'm thinking he's like 18, and I'm like, this kid's fucking strong. Like,
that's always a reality check. We're like, what are you, like 18, 19? I'm 12.
Yeah. And then I find out he's like 14. I'm like, holy fuck. And immediately I'm like, wow, that's like an eye opener in itself. And that wasn't even like, he hadn't even been training that long, but just long enough where he knew some shit. And he's Rolo's son, so he's not a smart.
And we haven't been training long enough to just,
we didn't.
Like,
I didn't
keep
know
him
shit.
at bay.
I didn't know shit. He'd do this fucking. He'd just dive his head in.
Yeah,
over
that was
and
his
over
move,
again.
man. He just fucking head rushed. Right?
Yeah, he like.
Was he a wrestler?
I mean, I don't know if he ever wrestled at all, but he would get grips and he'd just fucking pass and dive his head in every time.
Sometimes he'll catch you in the chin. Sometimes he'll catch you in the sternum.
Over and over and over.
That old school jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Rolo taught him that, though.
Yeah, right?
It's effective.
And then he'd be like, Akia at the same time. He'd be like, what the hell are you teaching this kid, Rolo?
Yeah, that's actually a story that I always like telling people about when I started jiu-jitsu, because I trained for maybe like 2 or 3 months at at like this little karate / MMA gym that was just a horrible experience. But then I switched to an actual, a legit jiu-jitsu school, Gracie Humaita, and like I probably stayed to spar maybe after training for like a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. So, in total, been training for a few months. Granted, only a month or 2 is legit. But, the coach is walking around watching, and I roll with these 2 guys that were a little bit bigger than me. And I wasn't in great shape at the time, probably like, 160-ish as far as my weight. But I roll these 2 guys, and they beat me, and I'm just like, man, like give me somebody my size, and then I'll be able to do something. And the coach is like, hey, why don't you go roll with Andrew? And Andrew's like, I'm 26, 27 at the time. I think Andrew was like 15 or 16. I don't know if we weighed 100 pounds. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to fuck this kid up. Not at all. Not at all. That's not how it went. He wrapped me up worse than any of those other guys did. And I'm like, man, like this really works.
Yeah.
So I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's size, and that's like we were talking with competing, like where is it that really that 4 pounds is going to matter, and there's a lot of times it doesn't and it shouldn't. No. Like
if your jiu-jitsu is better than theirs on that day, then you're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, you see open weight, right? Like when people do open weights, it's not always, heavyweight doesn't always win. It's not like just a given that the biggest guy is going to win.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I remember Big John, old Big John, when he was a purple belt, and it was after he won Masters Worlds, I think, even. Or maybe it was right before. I don't remember.
Who's
but
old Big?
Okay, so
Big John.
we used to have, before Big John that we have now, we had another guy that trained at the gym that was Big John, and he was like, fuck.
Yeah, he was like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4", and he was like 300 pounds.
Oh my God.
He was big.
I can't roll with those dudes.
Yeah, I can't either.
I just can't.
yeah, he knew jujitsu, but he was also like pretty mean with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he used his weight and he did some like he knew how to be dirty a little bit with the weight and use it to his advantage. You know what I mean? Then that made up in whatever skill deficiency that there was.
Yeah.
But again, he also won Masters Worlds before he left our gym, and then he left our gym right after.
Gotcha.
So, whatever. But anyways, but yeah, I don't know. So that used to be Big John, but he was rolling in a tournament, and it was in the open weight division, and he went against like a featherweight. And I mean, this little guy just kept moving around, made sure he didn't get grips and didn't wrap him up, and finally wore him out and got a double leg on him.
Oh, wow.
And took him down.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and then was able to win the match, like secured points and won the match. You know what I mean?
Dang.
But it's like,
What an interesting strategy, though.
mhm.
That makes a ton of sense. Like if you were ever in a real life situation like that,
Yeah,
then you couldn't, you couldn't escape, to just wear the dude out.
yeah,
You can't go pound to pound against
No.
a guy that big.
No.
He's got 200 pounds on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah. So I mean, his whole, he's just keeping grips off of him. Like he might like fake in a shot, but not even really commit to it because he doesn't want to get like just laid
Smashed.
on. So, and there were a couple moments where they like almost engaged and stuff, but his whole plan was keep the distance, just work him, and John just finally got tired. And then he shot in, got the takedown, and it was like
Wow.
at that point, that was it.
That's
you know
awesome.
what I mean? So it's like that David versus Goliath situation, and man, jiu-jitsu wins,
For sure.
I've seen it go the other way though.
Oh, yeah.
I saw Mikey.
I felt it go
Mikey
the other way plenty of times, you know what I mean?
went up and I forget what weight it was, but I think he actually it wasn't an open weight. He actually was competing at like 200 pounds as like a 154-pound
Wow.
dude. And the dude, the
Laid
first
on
guy
him.
that he went to, he let him know he wasn't happy with it.
That
I mean, that's a big difference, man. That's tough, you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's a tough situation. And that comes, when you go skill-wise, like if you're both purple belts, and you're both highly skilled or both blue belts, whatever, but you're relatively close in skill, there will be a point when like that weight or that strength is going to overtake it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It definitely plays a part.
Yeah.
But you travel around a lot and you train at a lot of different schools.
A lot of different schools.
I'm sure that there's a lot of schools that sandbag, but are there a lot of schools that grossly overestimate their colors?
Yeah, it's probably that way more often.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Like showing up in purple belts that don't really feel like purple belts.
Right.
Yeah. But it's also like, how do you really gauge that, right? Because DeBoa is definitely like one of the best gyms that I've ever trained at, skill wise and just general like vibes in the gym and friendliness and everything. But when you come from a gym that is so tough, then you go to a lot of other places and it's kind of like who knows where that average really is, right?
Right.
But I've only ever been to I think I've only ever been to one gym where I just got like I was a purple belt and their purple belts destroyed, and like not a lot, like I rolled with like a couple, like probably they're better purple belts, better blue belts and everything, but their purple belts destroyed me. I was having a hard time trying to keep up with their blue belts. I tried to grab a teenager at one point. I think he had like a green belt or something. I'm like, dude, I need a rest round. I'm gonna take this kid. That was tough. But it's funny though too, because this was in New Jersey, and like I looked this place up and it was a Henzo school. So I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Like that's obviously a legit name. So I go there and it's like, I can't remember. There's like maybe like a mechanic's garage underneath and you like open this crappy door and there's these stairs leading up to something. I'm like, man, I don't know about this place. And I get up there and they're teaching class in Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
And then we're lining up at the end of class and everybody's got their gis open and it was just like different height Andre Galvaos. Like they're all just ripped. And I'm like, I don't even know where I fit in here, man.
Oh, God.
Class is done. They're over like lifting weights and doing pull-ups and stuff. But I think that's the only school that I've ever been to where I was just like, they're on a different, like, and maybe it's not that they're on a different level, just maybe they're sandbagging, like, who knows. But even going to like art of jiu-jitsu with the Mendez brothers, I went when I was a blue belt and I was super intimidated. And then I got out there and I did just as well as I would anywhere else. Yeah. Granted, I'm not going up against their competition guys, but as far as like in general as the school, yeah, it's so hard to say.
So our color can probably match color for color at any school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was always curious about that because my jiu-jitsu journey's only been to Boa. I've never trained anywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, same with me. Just competitions in Daboa, you know. But
yeah,
we train a little bit back in Buffalo when we go back. It's definitely different. Definitely way different.
Yeah, in a good way or bad? Good for you or
just the level of teachers, the level of facility, the level, just the level of people in the gym.
Yeah.
So much better at Daboa.
And I think Phoenix was one of the first spots on the map when they came to the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like obviously California, but I think quite a few guys spread out. Like Megaton Diaz came to Phoenix pretty early, and with like Gustavo Dantes.
Yeah, Dantes.
So, I mean, when you have those guys that got here so early, like that's just going to bring the level of this area up. I notice it way more in the kids too. Like the kids in Phoenix are
the kids programs in Daboa is like obviously got a really good kids program too, you know. Yeah. But out here for sure, kids. I mean, as a whole, Arizona's pretty legit with jiu-jitsu. But I agree with that, man. Our kids, we got some fucking monsters.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? Definitely. Oh, I'll take another one.
You know what's funny is the last time I drank a Modelo, it was right after training with Jacob Couch.
Oh, yeah?
Hillbilly Hammer.
Oh, you rolled with him before,
I have, yeah.
Really?
A couple occasions, actually.
Really?
Who is this?
One of the Daisy Fresh guys.
Oh, where did you train with him?
I was in Georgetown, Kentucky. And anytime I go somewhere, it's one of the first things I do is I look up gyms. And I search for jiu-jitsu gyms, and there's nothing within like 45 minutes to an hour. But there's an MMA gym that's like literally right across the street from my hotel. And I'm not one to usually go into thank you. I'm not one to really go into MMA gyms just because it's like a different intensity and, you know, their goal compared to my goal. But I went in, I think it was a no-gi jiu-jitsu class that night. And it was actually like there was a legit teacher that was doing class. But like rolling with him afterwards is the first time that I met him. And he had actually, because he grew up in Kentucky, like small place in Kentucky, trained at like some little MMA gym. And I can't remember how, I think it's just from cross-training at different gyms. The owner of Georgetown MMA had met Jacob. And for whatever reason, I don't know if he just saw something in him or what, and saw a situation, but he's like, you can come live with me and just train full time. So he did that, moved in with him, started training there, and was getting like really good. I think I was a purple belt when I went there. And granted, like it was no-gi, and I think that was the first time I'd ever been to a school where it was like lots of leg attacks. And like you get somebody, you know, like you're playing open guard, and all of a sudden they just grab your leg and sit back, and I'm like, wait, you're supposed to come this way. Like, why are you going that way? And I mean, I was just getting tapped out left and right. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, I feel like I hold my own in no-gi, and they were just tearing me up. But then after class, the owner's like, hey, man, we're going to grab a few of us are going to hang out and have some beers if you want to stay. So we just hung out and talked. And I think I went back there one time after that, and he was still there, rolled with him again. Always a super nice dude. Very nice. Cool. Yeah. So it's cool to see what he's doing with his life and like really reaching, you know, his dreams.
He's kind of taken over the Pedigo gym, right? Because Andrew Wiltsey. Yeah. Wiltsey's kind of, I think he's kind of elevated above that.
Really?
A little bit.
Yeah, I haven't been watching a ton of it lately. But yeah, I kind of noticed that they're not really showing him much.
Yeah, I think he's doing like world level, you know, stage shit now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that could be the case.
It's crazy how you can go from down here to way up here pretty quick. And
all he talks about is getting that Panda Express sponsorship. Right? That's freaking awesome, dude.
Right. For sure. Yep. Yeah, that's crazy. Those guys definitely are doing something there. But you got to wonder too, Like, obviously, you can see how hard they train when you watch those videos, but it's like, how long can you last doing that?
Right, exactly.
Like, how short is your career going to be? Because I highly doubt those guys will be competing at Masters.
No.
You know?
They might be training people at that point to compete at Masters.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think at some point, like, there's got to be an exit strategy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You can only do that shit at a high level for so long. I mean, that goes with any of these high contact.
Look at Hickson, man.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's why they create the content that people can buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to figure out. You got to, like, once you're done competing, you got to be a good gym owner, be a good instructor, and then be able to market yourself, or you don't necessarily have to market yourself. I mean, as long as you're a good gym owner and you can, keep people in a gym, or you have good chemistry with people, you're not some, dirtbag and shit,
Yep.
But
not too many hard R's.
Yeah,
Just one, right?
Yeah,
Just
you
one.
You got to
just
keep
you
those
just
to a minimum.
try to keep that, reserved with a capital R.
Yeah.
Like, man.
When you're training at a new gym, do you kind of like sit back a little bit and get a feel, or do you just go and do your thing?
Just do my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can usually tell, like, I probably trained at probably in the neighborhood of 25 or 30 gyms.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get a pretty good feeling right off the bat of what kind of gym it is as soon as I walk in.
Oh, really?
Just kind of getting the general vibe of people and what the place looks like.
Yeah.
Because I've been in some places that were just, I mean, I'd never go back.
Yeah.
Never.
For sure.
Have you ever turned around and walked out?
I don't think that I have. I don't think so.
Have you ever been greenlit?
What do you mean?
Just like all of a sudden nothing but black and brown are attacking you?
At one gym.
At one gym?
Yeah.
Really?
I went to a gym in Chicago. I can't remember the guy's name. No, I don't know if I want to say it anyway. But I had just gotten my blue belt.
Yeah.
Like literally a week or two before. And I go into this gym. Super nice gym. Huge. But everybody lines up before class and he walks around punching everybody's card. And that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I mean, I guess like you got to keep track somehow. So whatever. And then we start rolling or start, doing technique. And I notice there's maybe like 2 or 3 blue belts that are exactly my size.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Like I get to test myself and see how, as a new blue belt, like how do I hold up against these guys? Nope. That was not in the cards for me.
Really?
It was literally just like 220-pound brown belt, 200-pound brown belt,
And
then a
in
big
your
black
mind,
belt.
did you do
And
anything to
oh,
cause
no,
that?
not at all. Not at all.
Oh,
I mean,
so it
I'm
was
super
just
friendly.
yeah.
I think that was just like I didn't get a very good vibe from the instructor. And then he was, after class, like he's telling everybody who they can roll. Like he's setting the match for everybody, which is also kind of strange to me. I've
Yeah.
never trained long-term in a gym like that. But yeah, I didn't get to roll with anything but brown and black belts.
Wow.
And even their brown belts, like I was still surviving.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ah.
So, but yeah, I think that's probably the only place that I've ever been to where they really try to like, I felt like they were trying to give me that like, oh, we're going to show you whose gym you're in type of
Like
vibe.
let you remember it on the way out the door type of shit.
Yeah. And almost every other, I mean, I've been into some places where it just.
Joke's on them. You don't even remember the guy's name.
Got him.
So eat a dick, guy.
Have you ever gone to a gym?
Guy.
In Chicago.
Have you ever gone to a gym and it said that it was a jiu-jitsu gym, but like you ended up in some sort of like a weird martial art?
Right.
Umite.
Like,
Walk in there. Dipping their hands in glass. Like,
Working swords tonight.
Yeah.
What did I stumble into?
Right. No. I mean, when I started traveling, I kind of understood, everything about like jiu-jitsu lineage type of stuff. So even just off of looking at websites, you can usually get a pretty good feel for like, there's a lot of places that won't even talk about like, who the instructor got his black belt from or when he got it. And right there, you're just kind of like that's something you should normally be like proud of where you got your black belt from because you sought out a legit source. So, I mean, I normally have a few options and it's not too hard to find the better option. Yeah, I've been to like some Carlson Gracie schools, and those dudes that's just known as like, from what I've noticed, like that's an old school like hardcore pressure style gym, and they grind. Like you might come out of there with a bloody lip or busted nose, like not that they're doing it in a mean way. They just like that's how they train. Yeah. But
how long have you been training all together?
I think I want to say it's like 11 years, maybe a little bit more.
Where'd you start?
So like I said, it's kind of a funny story. So I got introduced to UFC, and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh man, I got to start training. Like I want to fight. That was my goal. Mm-hmm. So I actually did about 6 months of Muay Thai in the very beginning. And then I got kind of sidetracked with riding motorcycles and stuff. All my buddies had bikes. So
how old were you?
21 or 22 when I was doing that. And I even remember, I don't know what UFC it was, probably like 40 or 50 something. But I remember seeing a guy get armbarred, and I'm like, what is that? So when I went to it's a place called Peoria Athletic Club, and it's a Megaton Diaz black belt that teaches there. And I went in there doing Muay Thai, and I remember seeing the jiu-jitsu guys would come in after my class. So when I got out one night, I walked up to one of them like, hey man, like, just got a quick question. Like, what's an arm bar? And he kind of described it and kind of like put some pressure on me. I was like, oh, that sucks, man. Okay. And I wish I would have started training them, but it didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, I'm going to learn how to fight. I want to throw kicks and punches. But
you can't armbar me if I knock him out.
Exactly. See how lightning fast these punches are coming in? Armbar that.
Armbar this.
Yeah, a lot of people have thought that, and it doesn't work out well. But anyway, so I took I left for like 5 years, then decided I wanted to give it a shot again. So I went into, and this is like, I already had my son, so I'm like trying not to spend too much time out training. There was a gym in my small town, but it was like a karate and MMA place. So I call up, and the guy's like, oh, do you have any experience? I'm like, nope, like never trained, never done, MMA before. And like kind of out of shape, like 170 pounds. So I walk in the first night, and I see him standing there, and the gym is literally just like a wall down the middle. One side is just a bunch of little kids doing karate, instructors, like super overweight, out of shape. And then on one side, you had just like the dirtiest, just most messed up looking pieces of equipment, like stuff that probably looked like they got saw it on the side of the road next to a dumpster, and they're like, oh, we'll take that. Like,
wow.
Like
awesome.
It was, ridiculous. No instructor. It was just a bunch of dudes that just got together and beat the shit out of each other every night.
That's crazy.
So anyway, this first night I walk in, I'm like, hey man, my name's Chris. I called you on the phone earlier. He's like, oh yeah. How much do you weigh? And I'm like, kind of a weird question, but hey, it's MMA gym. I'm like, oh, maybe they need to know that. And I'm like, oh, probably like 170. And he goes, oh, okay, cool. Could you be at 155 in 2 weeks? And I look at him and I'm like, well, why would I need to do that? And he's like, oh man, we got these amateur fights coming up and we need more fighters. And I'm just like, it's probably not the best place to be training. Wow. And I'm like, no, I think I'm going to try to train for a little bit before I take my first fight. And then, like I said, it was like 2 or 3 months of just every night, just bloody lips, black eyes. Like, it was horrible.
Holy crap.
But there was one dude there, really nice guy. And whenever it came time that we decided we wanted to grapple, he would just destroy everybody. So I asked him, I'm like, dude, how did you get so good? And he's like, oh, I went to this place called Peoria Athletic Club for like 6 months. And I'm like, oh, okay.
6 months?
I'm going to go there. I'm like, if you're this good, like, I'm going to that place.
Right.
So
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That jiu-jitsu, I feel like now is so much more popular and accessible. And
oh, yeah.
To think like even just in such a short amount of time.
Yep.
You said that gym was a Megaton gym?
Yeah. The gym that I actually tried, like that I switched to.
That you switched to?
Yeah.
Did you ever see McKenzie?
No.
Wow.
But I do have a funny story. So like I said, when I started Muay Thai, then my buddies got into motorcycles. So I started doing that and kind of worked my way into professionally stunt riding motorcycles, like going around competing and doing stunt shows. So anyway, then I get back into jiu-jitsu, or I start jiu-jitsu, I'm sorry. I get back into training, but I started doing jiu-jitsu. And I was probably like, I don't know if maybe I had my blue belt or I just got my blue belt. And I get a Facebook friend request from Megaton. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Oh,
Wow.
okay.
All right.
And it's kind of funny because a couple of the black belts that are at the that teach there were always complaining because they're like, man, like I'm trying to get Megaton to be my friend on Facebook for like 6 years, man. He still hasn't. And like these are like his black belts. But anyway, so I get a message from Megaton, and he's like, hey man, I saw that you do the stunt riding. He's like, I got into motorcycles. Why don't you come out to Phoenix and you can stay with me for a couple weeks and teach me how to ride wheelies on my Harley. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, man, let me look into that. So I go and I talk to my coach and tell him, and he was just pissed off that Megaton had talked to me and they weren't Facebook friends. But anyway, he's like, I don't know. I'm like, should I go? Like, I don't know. And he's like, like you could. He's like, but remember that if like you go out there and he like wrecks his motorcycle and something happens, like that's a lot of pressure coming down on you. And I'm like, man, that would be a lot of people pissed off.
Yeah.
So I ended up not doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. Kind of regret it,
Crazy.
but.
And you were just gonna stay with him, or was
Yeah,
he,
he said come stay at my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, teaching somebody to ride wheelies on a Harley, that's like no easy task.
No shit.
So,
Have you ever done it?
Yeah. I had a Harley stunt bike.
That's crazy.
Holy crap.
Yep.
Jerry used to train. That's where he was like training when he first started training. Was up there with Megaton. And he was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I've never been to his gym, but we have like some of the black belts from back in Peoria will like used to come out once a year. And they said it's some tough training. So
Man.
Yeah.
Damn. So you're from Arizona then?
No.
No?
No. So I was born in Massachusetts and moved to Illinois when I was about 7.
Wait, so when you say Peoria, are you talking
Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah.
Illinois,
yeah. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Gets people confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long you been out here now?
About 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, moved right around the same time as Mike did, actually.
How long? Yes.
Yeah.
How long you been out here, Mike?
did you guys just meet at the gym, or you guys? Meet
Yeah.
Really?
A couple months after I was here, I had a knee surgery, so I couldn't train, and I had brought Avery in for the kids class, and I'm sitting there with my big old leg brace, and it sucked because I'm like, I'm at a jiu-jitsu gym, and I'm like, can't really get out there and like meet people or whatever. And I looked over, and he was wearing a Jocko Willink shirt, and I'm like, oh hey man, I listened to that podcast, and we just started talking, and like there really wasn't a group, at least I hadn't noticed, a group of people that would go out for like UFC fights from the gym. Like at least what I was used to at my old gym.
Yeah.
Where like everybody would get together. And he said the same thing. We're like, oh, let's go find a place to watch the fights. And that was how we met.
That's strange because there were people watching fights together.
Right. But I'd only trained at the gym for like maybe a couple months and then had my knee surgery. So I'm like, I didn't really know anybody that well.
And I wasn't even training.
Yeah.
I wasn't even training
really?
yet.
Yep.
No,
So
I was there. I was there.
For a while,
yeah.
Huh?
I think I started training like probably right about that same time.
Nice.
Yeah, we had like a little group that all came up at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, which was kind of cool. You know what I mean? That really helped, like we were saying with the core group and stuff. But like you saying, you guys didn't really have like that little group that you all came up with. You just kind of came into the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's cool though. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's nice that there was already a group that was already formed.
Yeah.
That we could jump into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a group of good people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was gonna say is we have like a strong group of like good people at the gym. You know what I mean? I was always apprehensive too, like with any sort of training. I remember like when Siege very first opened up, or when I first saw it, it was in like this little itty bitty kind of like garage or like warehouse type building, but it was off of Dysart, and it was just down Dysart. Like if you drove down towards like Dysart and Glendale or any of those, it was just in this little spot. And I remember seeing it and thinking at the time like, oh man, jiu-jitsu, I could go there and train, but I was always like, man, that's an MMA gym. I'm not trying to like go there and get beat up, and like I'm not trying to prove anything. I just want to learn.
Yeah.
So that was always like the scariest thing for me to try to get into a place, thinking that. And then again, if my girl's going to the school right behind DeBoa, that helped me like, we just drove by one day and
Yeah.
we watch UFC fights and my girls watch it, and so like at the time Ronda Rousey was huge, you know. So like Chloe, my older daughter, was like at the time was like, oh man, that's so cool. And then we saw jujitsu, like they put the sign up.
Nice.
And we were driving by. I picked her up from school. She's like, Dad, look at that, jujitsu. I was like, yeah. And she's like, I want to start training.
That's so cool.
I'm like, all right, cool. I met Andrew, and at first I was like, who is this guy? You know, like he's like younger than me, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Just all
but
laid back.
yeah, you know, and I was like, he seems cool, but I, you know, you don't know, you know what I
sure.
mean? And then, like I went in, you know, and the girls start like I said, they trained for maybe a week. By about the third class, I watched them train. I was like, oh yeah, this looks like it could be.
Was he teaching back then?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even then, like, did you know, you guys know Kelly at all?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of.
Yeah. So like Kelly was like for the longest time kind of the enforcer at the gym and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
that guy was great. Like neon soul. That's didn't do neon belly. He did neon soul, man.
Right.
I mean, like, but so you know, watching them train and watching like that first group, like Big Phil and Johnny and there's a bunch of people there. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
that still train, but like seeing them and then watching the kids, and I was just like, huh, like, oh man, that seems pretty cool. And then a week later, I jumped in and never stopped after that, you know?
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time, like, Andrew didn't like me, you know, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? And it was like, I'm trying to learn, but at the same time, there's so many people, like, it's a new gym,
Yeah.
you know? So everybody's trying to figure shit out. And the guys that have been around, Will and Kelly and Andrew and several others, you know, like Andy and, you know, Andres and a bunch of others, like, those are the guys that we were getting beat up by every night,
Right.
and they were beating the shit out of us, you know, and that's how we learn. That is what it is. But man, like, you just one day I remember Andrew, like, I was getting beat up, and then it was like I didn't get grips on stuff, right? So like it was open guard drill, and I'm just getting annihilated, you know, because I'm not like trying to get any grips. I'm not trying to keep my feet connected or anything. I'm just getting annihilated. And he finally was like, Chris, he's like, you need to get grips and you need to keep contact. And he said it, but it was like, it wasn't like he was yelling at me, but it was urgent enough to where it like got in my head. And I was like, oh, like he's paying attention. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
He does realize how
like,
much I suck.
Yeah, like, oh, like he does care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like whatever it was.
And you got a little sparkle in your eye.
And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then at that point, I was like,
It's funny how sometimes you're rolling and you just get it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how else to explain it, but like
and he said, well,
things
he's a
start
quiet
making
guy,
like so much more sense.
right? And sorry, I didn't mean to like
No,
cut you
no,
up, but
no.
he's a quiet guy, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so like the initial like all the interactions, he was never like that engaging, and then it was like that one time, that one instruction. That to me was more like, it was like that urgency I could hear where he's like, hey, listen, you need to start doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yep.
like that's all it took.
Yeah. And it's also got to be kind of tough too with like in his shoes is you see so many people come and go that it's hard to kind of give that maybe special attention to somebody
Yeah.
and like kind of, you know, feed into them a little bit and then they're gone within a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, like I'm kind of bad with people's names. Man, if you're not a blue belt, like I'm probably not going to try to remember your name.
I'm the same
It's
way.
just-
And not only even that, man, I'm not going to remember your name for a while.
Yeah.
For the most. And it's not like, no disrespect, I'm horrible with names, but at the same time, like you said, like if I don't see those people a lot, like I'm not really going to be concerned with
Yeah.
it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And there's plenty of times where I'll see somebody and I'm like, man, I know we've rolled before. I'm
Right.
Chris. I don't remember your name. You know what I mean?
Do that like 3 and 4
Dude,
times with people.
Yeah, literally. And like even Joey, man, like I've rolled with him before.
Yeah.
But I could never remember his name, or I'd seen him so many times.
Yeah,
And I've like
yeah.
introduced myself to him like 3 times.
Right.
You know, before
Right.
it finally stuck where I was like,
For
okay,
sure.
I know who that guy is.
Yeah. And then you go and do something like Master Worlds and you actually get to hang out with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was awesome, man. That was
Yeah.
fun. Full circle, right back to that shit. It was
For
a great
sure.
time, man.
For sure.
Next year, you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So you were gonna do it anyways, right?
We wanted to do it.
Yeah.
We ended up getting COVID right about when we were. I don't even know why we weren't signing up, but we ended up getting COVID, and then when we actually felt like we would actually be able to do it, we went to sign up, and it was already full. So.
What time is it?
9:45.
9:45.
9:45.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Mike, you ready for another one?
Yeah, I'll have one.
Did that green dragon kick in at all?
Definitely. Can't you tell?
There were. Have you ever tried doing like a fight companion?
Man, yeah, we have, but we need to polish it up a little bit.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, we need to polish.
Yeah.
So I do actually. We did what card was that? Was that the Yon card or no?
Who was that?
I don't know. Anyways, irrelevant because it's probably never gonna air. But the whole idea was so like we're basically the same setup. We're watching the fights on the screen. We're trying to talk, but most of the time we're just watching the fights, not really talking.
Gotcha. That's
And-
a problem, right?
And then not only that, the copyright issues with like the fights, you can't really show them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I had an idea where we could start showing like it'd be the audio of us talking like it's the fights, but then on the screen I'd put up videos of like animals fighting or like animals just mating and shit. So it'd be like oh god, look at that. And it's just like because we can't show like the actual fights, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but no, I would like to do a fight companion. I think it'd be fun.
If we had more people,
Yeah.
I think if you guys came
Was it
for
just
the next one,
okay? Yeah, and I see what you're saying too, because like watching some of the more popular fight companions, like they get so off track, and it seems like they're not paying attention to the fights.
Yeah.
But if they were paying attention, that'd be a really boring podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
and so it's hard to like go between it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard for people to just sit there and listen to us go, "Oh shit! Oh look at that!
Right.
Oh man!" You
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
like we're trying to like have conversations or the shit we're joking around about.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, like you can't show that shit on the screen.
Yep.
You know. So it's hard. Nobody wants to. You get off track and then you're just watching another podcast too. You
Right,
know what I mean?
for sure.
and it's a skill to call fights, man. It's
Yeah.
not easy,
Oh, I bet.
you
Yeah.
know,
I bet.
so-
And we haven't tried to just dip our hand in like, hey, let's do color commentary.
Right.
You know what I mean? Here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
We're gonna play by play this shit. Just fucking hard off the top. Let's
Right.
do it.
You got Tim in the back on
Hey,
a
we could
computer.
get
Right.
Ronnie in here.
I know, right? Yeah, dude. For our fucking our color analyst.
Nice.
Oh god. Hard R.
Oh, man.
Tell us what you think. Oh man. He'd have to just bleep out his entire segment. And we'd all be just like So back to the fights. And no, Mandalay Bay is nowhere around here.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, that took a hard right, actually. Let's get back on schedule here, man.
Oh, man.
jeez.
But yeah, we should do a fight companion though, you know
That'd
what
be
I
fun.
mean?
That
Yeah.
would be fun.
It would be cool too, like
What big fights are coming up?
There's one tonight. I mean, it's not huge.
yeah,
Well, it's already done and everything. but
Misha Tate, right?
Yeah.
That was
Who
tonight.
won that?
I don't know, I didn't even see.
she lost.
She did?
Yeah.
Really?
By decision, I think.
By decision?
Yeah.
I'm surprised she came back. How?
Caitlin Vieira.
Yeah, Vieira's pretty good though, man.
I think she was ranked like 6, and I think Misha Tate was ranked like 8.
Yeah, Misha Tate, they were like, man, they were giving her the hard push too, man.
Yep.
They were like, if she won this fight, she was
Yeah,
like
probably
right
straight
there
to a
for a
title
title
shot.
fight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They were giving her the hard push, which, man, Misha Tate's awesome, you know, and she's got a crowd, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And she's had the following and stuff. So if she would have won it, I could see that. But Vieira's good.
Connor Chandler signed, right?
Is it signed?
Oh, I didn't see
know if
that.
they
I don't
signed, but they
know.
were talking
No.
about signing.
No.
I don't know,
way,
man. Connor's
really?
trying to fight everybody, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to see him fight Max, actually.
Really?
That's the fight I want to see. I know, like, I mean, they fought before,
Right.
and he beat Max, but look at where Connor's at now. Look at where Max is at now.
Right.
I think that's a totally different fight.
That'd be a killer
You know what I
fight.
mean? And I think Max would hold his own. I think Max could win that fight now too.
That's very
You know
possible.
what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see that fight. I honestly, dude, like for what Connor is, and for as much as he's like the fights that he's lost, the way that he's lost them, his stock never drops. You know what I mean? Like it sucks. You can't say like he's a championship contender, but you can't say you wouldn't
People
want
aren't
to
gonna
see him
sell them.
fight.
Yeah.
You know, you want to see him fight Nate a third time, of
sure.
course. You want to
Definitely
see him
Nate.
fight Chandler, of course.
I'd love to see that. That would be
Mm-hmm.
a great fight.
Max, you know, you could name
Yep.
all of
are
these
they going
guys.
to do Poirier for the
Yeah,
the
him and
trilogy?
Charlie.
No. Poirier,
no,
Oliveira.
Yeah, Charlie.
Poirier's getting a
Oliveira's-
title shot.
Yeah, that's in December. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Actually, what?
When is Connor going to be
There we
ready?
go.
Or when is Connor going to be ready?
They said he's still injured.
Till next year. He's
Oh,
not going to take a
wow.
fight till next year. But that's fine. When he comes back, like, again, there's so many fights that they can make with him. I don't think they need to do him and Poirier 3. I think Poirier beats
No,
him.
that's over, man.
Did-
Poirier's proven it.
Did Chandler he lost his last match?
Yeah, he
Last
lost to
two,
Gaethje.
right?
Oh, that's
Hasn't he
right.
lost his
And that
last
was a
two?
hell of a fight, too.
That was a crazy
That was a
fight.
fucking fight.
Yeah.
That was a battle.
Yeah.
So where does that leave Gaethje?
He's
Gaethje's
probably
like,
next in line.
Yeah.
He's
got another title
He's
shot.
got to have the winner of the Poirier and Charlie Olives fight.
man, who's going to win that fight?
It's a toss up, man.
Man, I want to say Poirier. but
Man,
if
I
had
gotta
to
roll with Charlie Olives.
If
dude.
I had to put money
I
on
gotta
it, it'd
roll
be
with Charlie
Oliveira.
Olives. I love Poirier, but man, just how do you bet against either one of those guys, or how do you root against either one of those
True.
guys? Their stories, both of them, their stories and how they've gotten to where they're at.
Yep.
But just the momentum and watching what Oliveira's done, man, it's cool to see. You know what I mean? So
For sure.
I mean, Chandler had him, but he somehow just stayed in that fight. And the next round it was his. Like,
Yep.
I think Poirier's got great boxing. Poirier's good on the mats too, a black belt.
Yep.
And he's got that experience.
For sure.
I don't know. Can't count out Gaethje too, man. Those top
No,
three.
I
can
think
go anyway.
honestly,
It's hard
to
to
be
bet
honest, I
against any
think
one of them.
Gaethje, whoever wins this fight, I think Gaethje beats him. I think Gaethje's to that point now where it's like his time. I think his last loss was to Habib, and that was the fight before this one. And then he came back and he won this fight against Chandler. And I think he's at the point now where he deserves it. And whoever wins, Poirier or Oliveira, I think Gaethje's just ready for it, man.
Makes you wonder though.
But
guys,
keep going. sorry.
guys like that, like how many shots can you take to the chin before your chin just
Yeah, that's
you
true.
just can't take it anymore?
That's true. I agree.
Like they gotta be adding up.
Oh,
And
for
it
sure.
only takes that one fight too, right? Like that one time you actually get knocked out off
Yeah.
the big shot, and then after that, the downhill fall. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you can see that decline happen quick.
And,
but
and somebody like Gaethje who's just not afraid to bang. It's like, man,
Yeah, that's
how
tough.
many more of those can that dude take?
But you know what? I mean, with that being said, you look at like he's solid everywhere. He's solid all around. His leg kicks in that division, he's got the best leg kicks.
He was
know?
definitely chopping.
I mean, he
Yeah,
again,
Chandler's leg was lit up. Man.
yeah.
but then you think like when Gaethje and Khabib fought, Khabib looked like he manhandled him.
Khabib's at a different level.
Dude, and it was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, this guy knows jujitsu? Like, how crazy was that stuff
And
that
it
he
was
set
smooth
up?
too. man.
Yes.
Like smooth.
Up against a super high level guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous that he made
Yeah.
that look so easy.
How close is Sambo to? Like I don't even
very
really know what
similar.
Sambo is. Is it a similar ground fighting sport like
It's-
jujitsu?
It's kind of like judo, jujitsu with no pants. Something like that.
Yeah, a little bit. But
Yeah.
it's like the Russian combat, right? You know what I mean? But it is, yeah, it's a lot of jujitsu is incorporated in
Yeah.
with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
would think
judo
there's
as
only
well.
so many ways that you can arm lock somebody or shoulder lock or.
But you look at like his wrestling, like that Dagestani wrestling
Oh,
or
yeah,
that
man.
Eastern European wrestling, like it's a
It's no
different
joke.
style, but man, it's a mauling style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For MMA, it translates so well, and then these guys they start learning striking along the way, like Khabib. I mean, for the longest time, like he was great, right? But his striking wasn't great. His striking was decent enough to get him to a point to where he takes you down and then he mauls you.
Yeah.
By the end, though, like when he's standing up with guys like Connor and he's winning rounds on the feet, and then he's, fighting Gaethje and he's standing up with Gaethje,
Yeah.
and he's able to rock those guys, like it's.
It's crazy though. When you look at him now, like where he's done fighting, like just what he naturally walks around at, he just looks like he is a thick dude.
Yeah, right.
Like, and then to see him fighting at 155, that's what I weigh. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
I want to see Islam. I want to see Islam get that like top 5 guy. Makhachev.
Yeah.
He's kind of the one that Habib is anointed as the next guy. You know what I mean?
He's the one that just fought that like Jingling.
No, that was Hamzat.
Okay, I get those two guys mixed up.
Yeah. So that was Hamzat Chimaev. Dude, he wrestled Jack Hermanson.
Oh, I heard
last
about that.
night.
Yeah.
He fucking mauled him.
Did he really?
He
and Jack
mauled
Hermanson's known as like a super legit jiu-jitsu
And Jack
guy.
Hermanson is naturally the bigger guy. Like he fights at the bigger weight class and stuff. But they came in and Hamzat was bigger than him, and Hamzat mauled him, dude.
Wow.
Like, in what was it?
It was just a freestyle wrestling competition. I don't remember what the event was called, but it was just kind of like just
wrestling,
just pure wrestling.
Okay.
I wonder
Like WWE.
Yeah, yeah.
the real
Off
stuff.
the top rope.
The real stuff.
It was a table, ladders, and chairs match. And,
You just wanted to clarify.
Man, you guys, do you all watch that as kids?
oh
Like,
fuck yeah, dude!
I totally
Oh,
get.
yeah.
Dude,
I
fuck
totally.
yeah.
I'll catch it on TV every once in a while, and like I totally get how kids are into that. Like it makes total sense. But then you see the adults that are like hardcore about it, and it's just like what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
Like what's going
Yeah.
on?
It's so different now too, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a funny story. My mother-in-law, when she retired, she started helping these families, these immigrant families, and she got this. One of her assignments was to help this family who had escaped from Iran and immigrated to the United States. So she's helping them just kind of, get settled in their house and everything. So over the years, we would help with different things, bringing them furniture, clothes, stuff like that. And we were dropping some stuff off, and they have it on, and the whole family, like the grandmother, the grandfather, they all have they're watching WWE. They all have their characters, and they are, I swear to God, and like they were just mesmerized by the whole spectacle.
That's
of
awesome,
it. And it was like everybody was huddled around watching it. It
dude.
was the funniest thing.
That's like it must be. It has to be for the drama because there's no way. Like I could see before the
didn't know what the
UFC.
English, or they couldn't speak English, so they didn't know what was being said.
They
just
just
like
loved it.
Yes.
They just fucking loved it.
They're
That's
just
awesome.
like, you guys got to come to America too, because they're on TV just beating each other with
Dude,
chairs.
you gotta see this.
It's crazy.
This guy just threw another guy through a table.
This
Oh
dude
my
came out in a
God.
coffin. I
Yeah,
don't know what's
right.
going on.
He just buried him alive. He buried him alive. Oh my god. Dude, WWE, man. Yeah, man. I used to love that shit. And it's the same thing, like watching my girls, like, there for a while, they kind of like got into it. They thought it was cool, and it took them like a couple months, and they're like,
Yeah.
nah, this is pretty lit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's the same thing. You like, I'll catch it occasionally. I'll just like be switching channels or whatever, and you switch over. Like you see something like a video or something about what's going on, and I'm always just like, man, like you said, the adults that are still hardcore into it, that's a different ball game, man.
There's that dude in the gymnasium that's like watching one of like the amateur ones, and he gets up and he says something. He's like, starts crying.
I haven't
He's
seen that
thanking the
shit.
wrestlers, and he's crying, and he's like, "It's still real to me.
Oh
It's
my
still
God.
real to me."
I haven't seen that shit.
I got a date for us.
All right.
February 2nd. Tyson versus Paul.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Hell
we were
yeah.
just talking about
Okay.
that.
Hell
Word.
yeah.
Oh.
God, the whole this like spectacle of celebrity. I mean, granted, like some of them are fighters, but the whole like celebrity fights that are happening, it's just so strange.
Yeah.
I like it.
Dude.
I like it.
It's
so
definitely bizarre.
entertaining.
It is entertaining. There's
I've
no
got a
doubt about
piss,
that.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to call it a break or?
No, man, we can keep going if you guys want.
You guys good on schedule? You guys got anything going on?
All right.
All right.
Stay a
I
little-
feel like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, as I say, I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, man. I mean, boxing's got to do something to revive, right?
For sure, for
Shit.
sure. But what I don't like is they keep doing these fights and like making weird rules and stuff like
Yeah.
like with the who did Tyson fight?
Jones?
Sugar Ray. Who did
Roy Jones?
Roy Jones? Yeah,
Right.
sorry, Roy Jones. But we're like they're not doing like they're
Yeah.
not trying to knock each other out. Like I don't know if you guys are gonna get in there. Like,
Right.
well, I want to see a fight.
You know, another thing I didn't like was shit like fucking Evander Holyfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, older and shit and fucking getting in there and getting knocked out.
Yeah, it's
Fucking Tito
I didn't even know.
Ortiz.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, he
Holyfield
got
fought.
fucking worked, man.
didn't-
Vitor Belfort fucked him up. Fucked him up hard, man.
Vitor Belfort.
Vitor Belfort fucked him up in a boxing match.
Vitor TRT Belfort.
Right.
That's crazy. I mean, I guess those guys is like if all you've ever done is dedicate your life to fighting, like, and that's your source of income.
Well, see,
How do you?
But for somebody like Evander Holyfield, like I don't think that dude's hard up for money, right? Like he made so much money boxing. I'm sure that he's probably still good. Which, granted, that doesn't happen all the time. But if I had to guess, I'd say his life is probably fine. But just the fact that your whole life has been fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's never going to go away. I don't think. Like
Yeah,
you're
look
still,
at Muhammad Ali.
yeah, you're gonna wish that you were younger and you could still get back in there and do that thing that you had so much passion for. So how much of it, like I'm sure, so like probably Tito Ortiz. Yeah, maybe that was money related, right?
Could
but he
be.
didn't make
Yeah.
100th of what Evander Holyfield made.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know, but I just think that like that's what those guys have done their whole lives, and I would imagine that you would you're like, oh, Tyson's getting back in the ring. Let me go try. Let me go see what
That's
I can
what
do.
I was thinking too. Maybe he saw Tyson fight and saw how
Yeah.
good Tyson performed and thought he could do the same
And
thing.
there's an opportunity for like these guys that we like to watch, but you couldn't compete. Those guys couldn't compete at any
No,
level
not
that
a
you could
chance.
really make money. So to make these like real bizarre fights, like was
Yeah.
it Jake Paul or is it the other? Is it the other one?
He's fighting. Tyson's gonna fight Jake in February.
Is he the? I don't even know.
They're both monsters, man.
I can't tell them apart.
So Jake is the older brother. Logan's the younger one. Logan's bigger, but Jake's been boxing for longer.
So one's bigger and the other one's a little better at
Yeah,
boxing.
right.
Gotcha.
But they're both fucking like 6'2", 6'3",
Yeah,
you
big
know,
dudes.
200 pounds. Fucking
Oh,
big
so they're
guys,
big
man.
dudes.
Yeah, they're big guys.
And I don't know if both of them were, but I know one was a really good wrestler. I think.
How big
He's
is
got
Mike Tyson?
Right now, Tyson's probably Tyson's stats. He was 5'9",
Yeah.
fighting 200, 2 to 220, something like that in his
Which
pro.
is kind
But
of
like tall, like
outrageous.
how tall is Mike?
5'9".
5'9".
5'9".
That's
Yeah.
why it was always such a crazy thing, like that he shouldn't have really been fighting heavyweight, but
Right.
he was.
Could you imagine packing all of that into a body, like a 5'9" frame? Like,
Well, did you watch the Teddy Atlas episode with on Joe Rogan?
no, I didn't.
I don't think I did.
They were bringing Tyson to fight at these smokers events
Oh, yes.
when he was 14 and having to lie that he was 16 to fight the other kids because they wouldn't believe him. They
right.
thought that he was, that they were sandbagging.
Yeah.
But at 14 years old, he was knocking dudes out.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's fucking.
So is that what we're doing then?
Yeah, we're definitely doing this. If there's another fight event before then, we'll do that
Oh,
one
there's
too,
definitely
man.
some other ones. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm glad they do it because it's entertainment. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know,
They gotta-
gives us a reason to get together.
They got to do
Yeah.
better matches though, man, because
Yeah.
nobody wants to see Evander Holyfield get knocked out like that, man.
Dude,
Well,
have you
and that's-
seen like the?
With that one, like when was the last time that Evander fought?
Wow.
Like it's been a while.
In
Whereas,
the
been a
90s,
while.
Yeah,
after Tyson bit his ear.
right, right,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it had been like 10, 11 years at least, or something
yeah.
like that.
Whereas
know
you
what I
had
mean?
Vitor Belfort, who was just competitive in MMA like a couple years.
Well, and they
ago.
had to move the event too, right? Because Evander couldn't get cleared, so they had to move it so he could get cleared. You
That's
know what I
kinda
mean,
Crazy.
dude? That's I don't think he should have been taking that fight at all.
No.
And then he wants to take another one.
Does he
you know?
really?
Really?
Yeah, he's
Wow,
been saying he
that's
wants
crazy.
to take another
That's
because he
scary.
He
still
should
has,
fight
like,
Tito Ortiz.
Yeah,
Actually,
there we go.
You know what? That is not a bad fucking idea because I would love to see Tito Ortiz get knocked the fuck out by him. You know what I mean?
Could be a double KO.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Do they have a beef or something?
No, they just both got murdered.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I just love.
Oh, Tito got knocked out too?
by Anderson Silva.
Really?
Oh, like fucking bad.
Yeah,
dude.
pretty bad.
Where are they fighting?
There was a boxing match.
Yeah.
And he knocked him out.
Tito got knocked out like ass up in the air.
Yeah, like knocked
No
the
shit.
fuck out.
Where are you
Like,
guys
I was
watching
waiting
those?
for Smokey to run up and be like,
Was that a Triller
"Get the
event?
fuck out.
That was Triller, right?
I don't remember. I don't remember if that one was Triller or not, but
It's these
The
random,
Evander Holyfield
random
one was.
promotions that are like just putting
Yeah,
these
they're just
freak
popping
show
up all
fights
over the
up.
place.
We should put one together.
Right?
Who are we
it
gonna
couldn't
get?
be worse than some of these other bullshit ones that are out there.
Right.
Dude, have you see the most recent training video with Tyson?
No.
He's
Fucking
a
crazy, huh?
he's a freaking monster.
I would not want to fucking
Yeah.
I would not want to poke that beast.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
I don't understand why any of the Paul brothers
In the
wanna
beginning,
fucking
he was like,
talk that shit.
I don't want to fight those guys. I like them.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I'm going to fucking eat the
now
hearts
he's
out of
like,
that shit.
oh, we're gonna make
Is that
how much
crazy?
money?
Right.
How much money for me to rip your face off?
Right.
Okay, let's
I wonder
do
what
it.
they'll make.
Oh, they're going to make fucking tens,
They'll
in the
make
tens of
banks.
millions at least,
Yeah.
man.
He'll make bank.
Yeah. Anything with
I mean, how
Tyson.
much did Jake Paul make to fight Floyd? Like, that was a lot of money. You know what
Yeah,
I
that was
mean?
a boring ass fight.
20
Yeah,
or
I'm not
30,
saying that was
like
a
20 or 30.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
think.
saying it was a great fight, but I
Yeah.
mean, he made a lot of money for that. You're telling me they couldn't make double that if Tyson
easily.
if Tyson walked in the
Easily.
ring just to walk in that
Because
ring?
you have this whole new generation that knows nothing about Mike Tyson, and they're all like, "Fucking Jake Paul's been knocking everybody out."
Right.
All they know about
that piss you
Tyson
off?
now
Man,
is
I
him
remember
I
sitting
remember
around
going to
eating
fights at my
shrooms.
buddy's house, and we would rent the pay per view, and we'd all
A minute,
huddle
yeah.
around and watch.
2 minutes.
Waiting
You're like,
all week for this.
Right.
Second round knockout.
Man.
Yeah.
That was like the only fighting that you could watch.
yeah.
And then UFC came out.
And even then, like the
I
first
wasn't even
couple
allowed
of
to-
UFCs, like
I wasn't allowed to watch it.
I
Oh,
remember-
really?
It would be on
Wow.
over at my uncle's, and we'd be over, hanging out, and my mom would be like, "Shut that off."
I remember like watching some bootleg copy of it the first time I saw it. A neighbor of mine had it. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
when you watch it compared to like what it is now, it's just the Dana and the Fertitta brothers definitely did a
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal job of turning that what the UFC once was into an actual sport that's
Respected.
that's
right?
respected and
Yeah.
there is on ESPN.
yeah, man. I'm like all that. The amount of exposure that the UFC got over the pandemic, just from being the first ones to come out and
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
still have these events. And I
Sure.
mean, you know,
They were big already.
they were already big, but it was so cool to watch them like really flourish in that time when all these other organizations and sports and people are freaking out about it. Like, we can't do this. And they were still putting on events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, all goes back to that Bonner and Griffin fight, right? You know,
Yeah.
that thing.
What if that wasn't the war that it was? Like,
What if
would
that
the
was
UFC
one of those boring
flop?
fights?
Yeah.
No shit, you know?
Yep.
Because they put so much stock. And I love that season, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I watched that whole first
Is that
season.
the first one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, I watched it. I remember thinking like, this is so cool. But then the way it got capped off by that being the main event and the
Yeah.
fight to finish it.
Yep.
I mean, that just started the fucking journey. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That blew it up.
Well, the Gracies had a whole different vision with the UFC
Yeah.
to begin with. They wanted like a real life Kumite,
Yeah.
which is what they started off with. That's fucking some crazy shit, man. I remember seeing teeth flying and shit.
Yep.
Fish hooks.
Yeah.
and
Didn't
shit.
the Gracies originally start it?
Yeah,
they did.
It was
They did.
it was
Yeah.
theirs.
Horian.
And, yeah, they
right?
they
Yeah,
propped
Horian
up
and,
Hoist to be their man.
Yep.
Because I thought I remembered hearing the story that like Horian sold the UFC for like 10 grand.
$100,000 maybe at most.
Maybe
or
it was
so-
more.
yeah,
and
somewhere-
then it was
yeah.
somebody else got it. And then I think
And then the
the
Fertittas
Fertitta brothers
and
got it
Dana
after
bought
that.
They
it
bought it
from-
for like $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million.
and sunk a shit ton of money into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They were
5
like
or 600 million or something like that.
they were broke and they were like in the red that whole first season, and that they put like all their stock into that shit, and it fucking
It just kept going
off,
to-
dude. It paid off.
Yeah.
Look at like how many of those like the fighter the actual like big gyms, the facilities that they have now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they've got one in like China, or they're building one in China. They have one in South America, have one in Vegas.
Yeah.
And
It's
I mean,
crazy.
Dude,
It's pretty crazy to think about, like how worldwide it's.
yeah. It's the like if you really look at it, I mean I guess soccer is worldwide also, but it's not popular here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at like UFC, it's really become like the first mainstream kind of sport that has literally been globally taking off.
Because it's like the ultimate of things you can do to compete with somebody, to hand-to-hand combat. It, like there's no sport that you can replicate that.
And
like,
it gives outlets to those guys. Like think like people that used to wrestle after you got done college wrestling, and if you didn't go into Olympics or anything, what do? You know what I mean? Like you just stop wrestling, you go
Coach
do
at the
something
local
else,
high
you coach.
school
Yeah,
or-
you know, like same thing like Muay Thai or whatever else. There was like you could get to high levels, right? But then at some point it's like what do you do? Like MMA, it opened up these doors. People had other options to start going in.
sure.
You know, like jiu-jitsu guys, yeah, of course you can make a little bit of money, you know, at the highest levels you can make some money, but at the same time, like there's not a lot of options. Now you add in MMA, you can start learning other stuff and apply that with it and get better, and then before you know it, you're fighting for a couple $1 million or whatever, and you're in the UFC.
Yeah, man. What happens in UFC 1 if Dagestan decided to show up, though? Shit. I think it would have been over, man.
I mean, how long have they been like? When do you think they started? Like to get to where you see those guys are now as a whole, like how many generations of people did it
I think
take?
that's just that hard way of life that they live.
Right?
That's a culture for them over there.
Yeah.
It's not like something that they evolved into to combat MMA.
It's not new.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
not
something
new.
that it's a culture for them over there.
Yeah.
It's easy to wrestle competitively when you're wrestling life every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a hard place to live.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I couldn't imagine, dude.
Yeah, I think that would have shut down jiu-jitsu, or that would have set jiu-jitsu back a long, long ways if they decided to show up at UFC 1. Even when Hoist fought Matt, who was that?
Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes. There was a lot of flaws in his jiu-jitsu that you could see, man.
But what, like, how many times did they fight? Because I know they did that last one where they were both like
They were
too
both
old
kind
and
of
out of it.
decrepit.
But they fought before that.
Yeah, they fought one time before that.
Did
I
they?
think. Yeah, I thought they did because didn't Hoist choke him out or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a
Hoist
little
won the
hazy on
first one
that.
then?
Yeah, I thought so. I can't remember
Because
now,
Matt
man.
dominated the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ugly.
I thought it was kind of like his revenge match. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I don't recall. I do remember watching. I remember watching Hoist lose, but I don't remember who it was too.
Yeah,
Because I didn't even know he was still fighting.
They really weren't. That was the thing. Like they kind of came back to do that.
Let's see.
Pull that up, Perham.
Come on, young Jamie.
Well, it says once, right?
What
But-
big fights are coming up?
And December, you've got the we were just talking about it.
Oliveira.
Yeah, Oliveira.
Poirier.
Oh, something I was going to say about that. You know, you were saying that Gaethje beats both of these guys. Whoever wins, he beats them. But Gaethje and Poirier already fought once. Poirier won that one.
Yeah,
That was a battle, wasn't it?
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So I guess they only fought once.
Huh.
Just at UFC 60. But yeah, no, and so that's the thing too, man. And I wouldn't say either that. I wouldn't say that Gaethje would even hold the belt for that long. You know what I mean? He might end up losing the next fight. You know, who knows? But I think that he's just kind of like where he was when he fought Habib. He kind of like he was there, but at the same time, he kind of got thrown into that match a little bit before than he wanted to. You know what I mean? So I think coming off of that and him fighting everybody that he's fought up to this point, I think he's primed for that moment now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've been fucking backing Charlie Olives this whole run too, man. Right. Like, I fucking love what he's been doing, and I think
what he did to Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
he fucked up Ferguson bad.
Yeah, man. To watch that
arm, when his arm dislocated like that, just God.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy Ferguson's tougher than nails, man.
Mm-hmm. What's he doing?
I don't know, man.
Besides being real weird on the internet.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's just.
Is he really?
He's just talking. That's about all he ever does
it's
anymore.
Like
he
nonsense.
just talks,
the stuff that he says.
He just talks. He's got to either take a fight. I don't even really want to necessarily see him fight again. You know what I mean?
Because he got beat up pretty bad last time. By
his last couple fights, he's been like
he didn't tap.
That was his last fight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he fucking blew out his knee and shit.
So he fought Oliveira, and then who else did he get fed to? And it wasn't close.
Isn't that crazy? How we I lost it.
Two fights.
Thank you, Green Dragon.
I interrupted you.
No. I think I know where you're going with that. Like, it's crazy to see like where he was 2 fights ago, right? And to see where he was, like, for the longest time he was the boogeyman. You know what I mean? And that's all you ever heard about him. And to watch, like, the fact that fucking Habib fight never materialized. 5 times they tried to fight.
That was crazy.
You know what I mean? And Matt, what if they fight? And what if he beats him? I mean, that changes the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Not saying he was going to, but, you know, like, things change. And then Tony, like, he's on top of the world. Like, he's that guy that everybody thinks is the dark horse. And then all it takes was, Bilal Muhammad. That was the other fight, right? Like, didn't Bilal beat him up?
I don't remember that.
Or Beneil Dariush, or I don't.
Yeah, remember. But I think Tony won by decision.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember.
Maybe not.
No, but I mean, even like the Oliveira fight, he gets beat up. Bad. You know what I mean? Like, bad. And it's like 2 fights, he goes from like the guy that everybody thinks is unstoppable to all of a sudden it's like, oh man.
What does that roller coaster ride gotta feel like for those guys? Like, that's gotta be crazy. Yeah. That up and down, like you sign that contract and now you're like on this roller coaster.
Yeah. It would take a really strong mind to be able to deal with that. And you got to think, like, anybody that's like makes their livelihood off of getting in a cage and fighting another person, like, dude, they probably got a couple screws loose. Yeah. Nobody makes it to that level just because they're like, I don't know, like, maybe I'll do MMA. They can make money
just for the side.
Yeah.
You know.
Now you gotta have,
unless you're Luke Rockhold, you know.
He hasn't fought in a while, has he?
No, I don't want to see him fight.
Yeah, he had a fight scheduled.
Yeah, and then he got hurt. Injured. Yeah.
I've never liked that dude.
I always thought he was a little too cocky for what he, like. I mean, he was always good, you know what I mean? But that's tough. Like,
did he ever hold a title?
Yeah. I think it was because Bisping won the title from him.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
that was
when he beat him, and then he was also was it Bellator or was it what was the other organization?
Strikeforce.
Yeah, he was the Strikeforce champion also before that. Yeah, I mean, he was good, solid, you know what I mean?
Who did you say he beat for the title?
Oh, shit.
How did he get it?
I don't remember who he beat for the title.
What weight class was that?
185?
I don't know.
Yeah, because Bisping beat him for the title. It was a short notice.
That was a few years ago.
It was a short notice fight when he beat him because that was also a rematch for Bisping because he had lost to him before. Then he came back and he beat him for the title. And then he fought, he won like 2 fights or 3 fights before GSP came back and beat him. Took the title and then retired.
Yeah.
But that's how Bisping got it, was beating Rockhold, knocking him out.
That's a gangster-ass move. To be retired.
Dude, no
be like,
shit.
You know what? Let me get that title.
Go up a weight class too,
Go
right?
up 2 weight classes.
Was it 2 or 1?
No, because he was
170.
He was 170.
Yeah, he was 170.
155.
But
Okay.
yeah, to go up a weight class and be like, "Oh, you're at the fucking prime." No,
Right?
just,
Let me snatch that. I'm out
Yeah,
again.
I'm out. Seriously, he grabbed that belt and he was like, "Oh, I've got colitis and I got to retire.
Done. I want to go talk about
I am not
dinosaurs.
impressed by your performance, and I am out of here." GSP is the best, man.
Who did he say that to?
To fucking Matt Hughes, wasn't
Was it?
I think it was Matt Hughes. I am not impressed by your performance. Gangster.
That's awesome.
But to your point too, like imagine that roller coaster for a guy like Connor to come off of like winning the 2 belts. I mean,
Literally on top of the world.
on top of the fucking world, and then like you start fucking around, you lose this exhibition boxing match, you never defend a title, you lose, he beat Cerrone, okay, but in between that he lost everything else, you know what I mean? You lose to Poirier twice, you lose to Habib.
Yep.
Like you make some money selling your fucking
Wonder what he's worth.
Oh, he's worth a lot of money, dude.
It's up there.
Especially off that fucking...
Yeah, the whiskey
Proper
sale.
12?
Yeah, Proper 12, selling that. And then, like, he's made some
fight. He's
other
still living off
investments.
Mayweather
Yeah,
money,
the
man.
Mayweather money. So he made $100 million off the Mayweather fight. And I think he made like $160 million or something off of selling his whiskey, the stake that he had in Proper 12.
Oh, he sold it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't realize he sold it.
The company that he was like, that he partnered with, like, at the beginning to basically make it big.
Yeah.
They had the option to buy him out after so many years, and so they bought him out.
They just used him for his name.
Yeah, they'd used him for the name, and he used them for the fucking recognition, and they all made money.
Right.
Everybody's happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's still like the spokesperson, so he's just...
You guys ever try that stuff?
No.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
man.
it's not too bad.
It's not bad at all.
It's not
Is
too
it,
bad.
No,
it's
thanks.
a single malt or is it a blended?
I don't know.
I think it's a blend. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I might be wrong. It might be single. I know that I think Brennan Schaub's coming out with Tiger Thick,
Yeah.
which is it's a blended Japanese. It's the first blended Japanese whiskey.
Really?
Yeah. And he says it's supposed to be pretty good.
Sounds like him and Bobby Lee got in bed or
Well,
something.
man, I don't know. We'll see. I like whiskey though. I do like whiskey. But yeah, Connor made a lot of money, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, he's set. So does he come back and fight? I mean, he talks it, he wants to and
Says
shit.
he wants
What
to.
else do you have to do when you have that much money? What else
Right.
do you have to do other than correct where you feel like you need to?
I don't think that
or avenge those losses.
those type of people don't think that way. I don't think, man.
I think that he might think of it though as like, I'm the best ever. I want to go out on top.
Right.
Like I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not
wanna
going to
go out.
retire. I'm still in great shape. I still have years left in me. Like I don't want to go out after getting beat by these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Legacy.
Yeah, man. That's just gonna does he ever get back to being on top?
I wonder what he was like before.
I had douchebag.
Like
don't
When
you
he
know
was
what I
a
mean?
plumber?
Like
when he was a
how much
plumber?
of that personality that you see is really his personality, or how much of that is like what, what's his name?
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington does.
Yeah.
Is that just a show that he's putting on, or
I don't know. I think Covington's more authentic than Connor.
No,
No,
I don't
Covington's
think that
like
at
all show.
Not even close.
Yeah, he's all show.
He's
Like,
even admitted to it. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's pretty much like admitted. He won't just come out and say it, but it's been pretty much exposed.
because the UFC was going to let him go, right?
Yeah, they're gonna let him.
He had
go.
even won. I think he was on a 2-fight win streak. He had won 2, and they're like, "You're just not exciting. Like, we're gonna cut you." And then that's when he started.
Oh,
all
really?
his
And
antics.
he started
Yeah.
beefing and started talking shit about Jorge because they were training partners and roommates, and then started the whole MAGA shit and turned it up.
Oh wow.
But dude, hey, give him credit though, man. You look at the way he's
yeah,
fought
he showed
Usman.
out. He showed out that last fight.
He's
man.
been Usman's 2 toughest fights.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
sure.
Hands down. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And
That was a battle.
dude, both of them were battles, man. And the second one, like I thought I thought Usman was going to dominate after the first like round and a half.
Yeah.
I thought Usman, I was like, this third round, this shit's over. And Colby just fucking stuck with it. And he got fucking takedowns on Usman.
We thought that he was holding back just a little bit to try to work Usman in the later rounds.
Yeah.
Preserve, huh?
And that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our fight companion.
Yeah.
That was our fight companion. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good fights that night too,
Oh, yeah.
right?
That was the
that would
Rose
have been.
night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was-
podcast.
that
Probably
that was-
Yeah.
That was one of the better entire fight nights.
Yeah.
Who else fought that was crazy?
There was another fight that was insane. Chandler Gaethje.
Chandler
Chandler
Gaethje,
Gaethje was
and then
good
Frankie Edgar fought.
Yeah.
Oh,
knocked
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
He got
then-
knocked out.
The kickboxer guy. He was like 5. he was
Oh,
one of our bets.
yeah. Pajeda. Yeah. The guy
that
that's
was a
beat
good fight.
Izzy.
Yeah.
The guy that's beat Izzy twice in
Oh.
kickboxing.
Really?
And then he had his first UFC fight on that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
didn't
was
know
fought
that.
in the undercard. So he won with a flying knee. He won his fight with a flying knee in the second round. But he's fought Izzy in kickboxing and beat him twice. And now he's coming to the UFC. And like they already wanted to make the whole deal of like you versus Izzy, right? And in an interview he was talking and he was like, I'm not here to challenge Izzy. He's like, I'm here just to fight. He was like, I've beat Izzy twice. Izzy needs to challenge me. I was like, all
Mic
right,
drop.
all right. Let's see. You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Where's he from?
He's a Brazilian guy, I think. And he was a world champion kickboxer and beast, man. I mean, he got taken down in the first round in his first UFC fight. Taken out in the first round and just kind of got held, but then in the second round he kept distance and he just perfectly timed a flying knee and fucking lights out.
Dang.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, he's gonna be good. I mean, again, though, we talk about like age and longevity. You know, I don't know if his career is gonna be long in the UFC, especially a lot of those veteran guys that come over, like Gokhan Saki and a bunch of other guys. Like,
Yeah.
they're not as impressive in the UFC overall as you would expect. Like,
No.
they have world-class striking, but it's hard to adapt, especially when you're like older. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. And I'm not saying Pereira's like super old, but still, you know what I mean?
Striking's way different when you got to worry about somebody taking you down.
And the wear and tear that you've accumulated to that point,
Yeah.
you know?
When's the Ngannou Gane fight, man?
I think it's supposed to be January.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
so.
gonna be a good one.
I can't.
Who's he
fun to
fighting?
watch.
Ngannou and Gane.
Yeah, Cyril
Cyril
Gane
Gane.
and Francis
I don't know if I know
Ngannou.
him.
So Cyril Gane won the interim championship while Ngannou was sitting out. And so Ngannou won the championship. He beat Stipe.
Oh,
And
he
then-
did?
Mhm.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
him out.
Put him out.
Wait,
Cyril
Ngannou beat Stipe.
Stipe
Yes.
lost to Ngannou, to Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
And then he kind of went on that, like, he said he didn't want to fight until, I think he said, like, November. And the UFC was like, we're not waiting.
Yeah.
So they,
Stipe said that?
no, Ngannou said that
Ngannou.
after he won the belt. And the UFC didn't want to wait, so they made an interim title fight with Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis.
Yep.
And Cyril Gane beat Derek Lewis, and then Cyril Gane has trained with Francis Ngannou in the past, so they have kind of like this. It's really not as much history as people like as they want to make it out to be. They didn't train together a bunch, but they did train together. And then Ngannou left, and now he is where he's at. So
Was that when Ngannou first got freed, or?
yeah,
Right.
at some point, you know what I
Right.
mean.
What
Dude,
a
that whole
crazy
dude.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
Have you heard that whole story? God, my
Yeah.
good lord.
We
Yeah.
definitely hit the lottery getting born where we did.
Fuck
A
yeah.
lot of people in this
Yeah.
world, they got to go through a lot of stuff to have a decent life.
Yeah. That's like, you hear that when he's telling that story, you think like, I couldn't imagine doing part of that, let
Mhm.
alone that entire journey
Right.
to get to where fucking,
What did he say it was? It was like a year and a half?
That he was maybe like
It
when
was
he was
the
in that
whole-
country where they're like
yeah,
getting
one and a
boat
half,
crews
2
together
years,
to try to take boats over.
like 7 different times or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
8
he got
different
dumped out in
times.
the desert 7 times.
Yeah.
Had to walk his
So
ass back.
crazy.
Retry it. do 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 do, and then you just start
Right.
over. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
I gotta start over.
God, remember when that's how games were?
Yeah, right.
Like, man, it's not what it's like anymore. You can die as many times as you want in these stupid games. You just keep going right back.
Oh,
They don't know the pain of having to go back to
Dude.
level 1.
yeah, level 1. There's
Yeah.
no save points. There's no continues. What?
But I mean, I can turn it off and come back later, right? No, you can't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can't rest. There's no rest mode. What is
No.
that shit?
What was your favorite Nintendo game?
Base Wars.
Base Wars.
Base Wars. It was a baseball game, but it had robots. So like you could build your own teams, and it had different robots. Like one was like a tank, and one was like a motorcycle, and they
Oh,
or
shit,
like
really?
kind of so like you would go, you would hit the ball, right, and then the ball would go out, and you could try to get to the next base, but when you got to the next base, if they had the ball, you would fight. So your robots would fight each other. So you would fight for the base, right? And if you won the fight, you kept the base, or you could keep going. You know what I
Like
mean?
rock'em sock'em baseball.
Oh, dude,
over here.
it was a fucking badass game when I was a kid. That's the one that sticks out to me the most. I mean, Punch Out was great. Excite Bike. Excite Bike was
I
one
never
of the
played
greatest
that.
games ever.
Played
Oh my
Goonies.
Goonies.
Goonies
That
and
wasn't what I
Zelda.
played as a kid.
God. I remember,
Zelda for
Zelda
sure.
was great.
Do you guys remember track and field where they had the nets?
Yes, I do. That was so frustrating, dude.
Freaking awesome.
Dude, that game was so
You got to do
frustrating.
that jump and you go up on
The
your
high
toes
jump.
and you're like trying to balance.
The high jump,
I don't remember that.
dude. Oh man.
Why did we go on our toes?
Hey, that should be a podcast. Us
No
playing,
What
some,
did that do?
playing some video
Oh
games.
no shit. We
Some
should do
old
that.
school
sometime.
video
Hey,
games.
Listen, I have that.
That's-
I have one of those like where it's like it looks like a Nintendo, but it's really small.
Yeah.
And it has like 500 games. on it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Dude. Oh, go ahead.
W-
I'm
one of
looking
the
for
one of the
baseballs
ideas we had is
Badass.
to start doing a podcast where we would do like who's the best at something, who's the toughest, or who's the or whatever, who's the best at whatever we decide. But video games would be a good
Video
good
games,
episode for that.
Yeah, man. That would be fun.
And then go through like all the different consoles, Nintendo, Sega.
Mm-hmm. The old, like the original Sega Genesis, man.
Yeah.
Altered Beast.
Right? Altered Beast. What a great game. Dude, you remember the
Super-
Power Glove for the NES? Like,
Yeah.
Power Glove?
Yeah.
So I remember I was at a buddy of mine, like, shit, this is in like second, third grade, right? I'm over at my friend's house who lived across the street from me. For his birthday, he gets a Power Glove.
Wow.
Right? And like, coolest fucking thing ever, right?
Fuck yeah.
I'm
Lucky
next,
bastard.
like, he lives right across the street from me too, right? Like, boom, this kid's got a Power Glove. We're in his fucking house. He had bunk beds in his room, and he had a Power Glove. This shit is awesome, right? We're playing it, and the day of his birthday, he gets it. He's got it on. He's playing. His little brother's trying to run over to like try to play with it, and he's like, "Hold on, hold on." And his little brother starts walking across, and he's like, and he fucking busts his brother's nose open. And his brother's like, running out of the room. There's blood on the floor. There's blood all over the fucking Power Glove. And my friend is like, just keeps playing the game. His fucking mom comes running. What the hell did you do? Fucking got grounded. Got the Power Glove taken away.
Wow.
Hopes and dreams crushed
Man.
right in front of me, dude.
They had to take,
Damn.
they had
I
to take
was
that
like,
thing in forever.
Didn't even get to try it
Didn't
yet,
even
huh?
get to try it, dude. I was just fresh off of watching that Fred Savage
Oh,
movie
hell
too.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Wizard.
The Whiz Kid. Wasn't it the Whiz
Is
Kid?
it the one where he flies
You-
around on the top?
You got 80,000 on Double Dragon? Oh my god. Oh my god. All I wanted to do was fucking play with that Power Glove, bro. Man. Ruining a fucking third grader, second grader's life, huh? Son of a bitch. Oh.
You should get him one for Christmas.
thing probably
Power
costs $60,000 now.
Dude, no shit, right?
To find one of those that didn't get destroyed.
Dude,
Man.
good times, man.
Wow. Yeah, that would be fun. I'll have to break that out.
Duck Hunt. Remember
Duck
playing
Hunt.
Duck
Yeah,
Hunt.
Duck
Duck Hunt
Hunt.
was fun.
Man, I'm
That
trying to
little
think.
bastard dog
Nintendo-
would
what
hop
about-
out and laugh at you.
Was it Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64?
Mm-hmm. Go Mario Kart. Like when Mario
Yeah,
Kart came
Mario-
out, Star
Mario
Fox. Like,
Star Fox.
Yeah.
dude,
I don't think I ever played that one.
no.
You guys ever heard of this? I had this. I'm trying to think of how old I was. I was probably like 9 or 10. I had a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Sega.
remember. Yeah, and the
That was
Neo
like-
Geo. Remember the Neo Geo?
We did have a Neo Geo.
Yeah.
With a controller that's
Yeah,
this big.
right. Yeah.
What?
Dude, I don't know. Like my
The Neo
stepdad,
Geo,
my
man.
stepdad was into like I don't even ever remember him playing it, but for some reason he had bought that. And it's like the games were like this big and were probably like 10 pounds.
Was that
Yeah.
before Nintendo or was that?
No.
No, it was after. But
Pretty early
Atari.
on.
Remember Atari also?
Yeah.
Had
Yeah.
the Atari.
It's crazy
Yeah.
to think how, in such a short period of time, video games went from Atari to like
It's a virtual
Virtual
reality.
reality.
Dude, you
pretty
look
much.
at where it's at now, right? We're
Yeah.
coming up onto like this whole fucking the metaverse shit and all this, where it's like
Yeah.
basically gonna be we're blurring the line between reality and virtual reality, where people are gonna start having jobs in the VR world. Or like you're gonna start owning real estate and shit in the VR
Yeah,
world.
they're selling real estate in the VR
That's
world.
real shit, man.
Like,
That's
right now you
real
can
shit.
buy
Right now we can
space.
buy, and so you think like it's silly, right? But think about this: like we get on a server and we buy land next to Snoop Dogg in this virtual land area. And that's the selling point. Like, hey, we live next to Snoop Dogg.
this is crazy.
Like, look, there's Snoop Dogg's fucking virtual house right next door to us. You know what I mean? Or, you know, just whatever.
So this
Like,
is what humans have created.
Yeah.
It's like we
NFTs,
is the path that we're
like
taking,
the
man.
NFTs, the
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
the virtual real estate, virtual like
Virtual reality.
something about
cars,
this
virtual
doesn't seem
jewelry.
so like such a good idea.
Right.
I like a lot of it. Right?
Like, so will some people just live in that virtual world, and then
That's
some
what it's gonna
people
get to.
will.
But what are you doing when you're living in that virtual world? Are you just laying in a pod somewhere? Like,
You know, you seen what was that show? Fucking Black Mirror? Or,
Yes.
Did you see that episode where like they play the video games to earn credits to make
Yeah.
money in real life?
yep.
And that's like he lives just in like a little pod, or he lives in like a little building, and he comes out and he plays the video games all the time. But that's like a step between that and the Matrix, right? We eventually people are just gonna wake up, tap into the VR world, and just be in there all day. Log out, go to bed, wake up, and do it again.
Yeah.
Because
Or
what's consciousness really? You know what I mean? It's like, what are we? Just a bunch of water.
so it's hard to
You know,
say.
if you
It's
think
hard to
about it.
like think about layers, right? So like this is the layer that we live on. The reality is us sitting here. You add the virtual layer on there though, and now you can create new worlds, new identities. You know, and the more that people do it, it becomes something that's feasible, which then there becomes a demand. So now you can create a job, and you can create an alter ego or live a completely different life in this virtual world doing this job that people actually buy stuff from you,
Right.
or you make money somehow. That's what's crazy though, like you said.
So
like,
would they see like how would that work? Like,
Well, you remember that movie? Have you guys seen the movie Ready Player One?
Mhm.
yeah,
It's a really good movie, and it's like people just kind of living in this little, like they just have a little area set up where they do their virtual reality, and that's what they do all day long.
Yeah.
But in the virtual reality, you can be whatever you want to be, right? So that would appeal to humans.
Throw on some VR goggles.
Yeah.
Have some fucking sensor
And then-
plates all over your.
people would start.
Yeah.
I feel like people would just start living in that world.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm sure we're moving in that direction.
Hell, man, it might be the answer for us fucking to stop us from killing ourselves and shit. You know.
I mean, I don't know, like
we still got to eat. We still got to produce food. We still got to, you know what I mean? Like you still have like
Fucking get the
bodily
IV drip.
bodily functions. Yeah, like how does that work? If you're just in your VR
that's
all day
fucking
long.
that's Weber's next business.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not just IVs, it's life, man. He just fucking hook you up while you're just fucking living
hey,
in your virtual
infinite
world.
drip.
Just at the drip.
Oh my
Infinite
goodness.
drip.
Copyright that.
The
Copyright
Infinite
that.
drip. Timestamp. Copyright. Copyright tomato cans. Infinite drip. Right next to. There we go.
Exactly.
Casket wraps and Infinite drip. It's coming.
That almost sounds like the same company.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
Infinidrip.
Yep. Infinite drip. Dude, you could do a lot of
What's
things.
the
with that
menu
name.
look like? What's the menu? What does the menu look like?
Excuse me, what does Infinite drip do exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. But no, man, that's crazy. Like, I don't know, where do you go exactly? But there's gonna be a lot of different things. Like, just the idea, the potential of what the metaverse is, like the start of it, right?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? There will be other things developed that start kind of implementing all that same shit. Man, I don't know, dude. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. So what's the whole idea behind Facebook Meta?
I couldn't even
Meta
tell you, man.
Facebook.
I couldn't even tell
I
you.
haven't looked at it at all.
That's crazy, man. He has one of the highest performing platforms out there.
It's instead of like to take over the world, it's creating a new world.
Yeah.
right?
Virtual world.
I mean, basically,
That
that's
you
what
already
it is.
control.
Yeah. So you don't have those regulations you got to deal with and all that other bullshit.
He's just a way to deflect then.
I guess so. I don't know, but he's got the.
So you
He's
can
doing
do
it
anything
first.
you want in this world. There's no rules.
I'm sure.
How does that work?
I'm sure there's got to be some sort of rules and stuff.
What was that one thing where we were watching? It was like, if you died in the simulated reality, that you actually died in real life.
The Matrix.
It was one of those shows. It was like Black Mirror or something.
Have you seen Westworld?
That's what I was.
Yeah,
gonna bring up.
Westworld's awesome.
I don't think.
No, I don't think we started that one. There's so many shows. I can't keep track of them all.
Total Recall.
Right.
Right.
That's the one that started it all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Westworld is kind of the same thing, but instead of it being virtual reality, it's like an actual world that you go to, but it's robots. It's artificial intelligence.
It'd be like you go on vacation and we'd all go to this Western themed world.
Yeah.
And all the other characters are robots around us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you can do whatever you want to do.
You could be a bad guy, a good guy. You could shoot everybody. You could rob the places, or you could just walk around and go to the whorehouses.
Yeah.
Play some poker.
Yep. That was a crazy one.
Yeah, that's a good show.
What was that?
Westworld.
And they actually have an original one with like Yul Brynner, like way back in the day. A movie, Westworld.
The same premise?
Yeah, I mean, it was based off the same thing, but the series is like way more in depth, obviously, and stuff. But that shit's good.
Because I was listening to something the other night about like major discoveries, and one of them had something to do with AI and how they were observing how it was behaving, and there was some major leap in how it responded unexpectedly, and they were going into I don't even understand how any of that works, but it sounded pretty interesting. Elon seemed to think it was something worth commenting on.
So when they talk about like the advancement in technology, like it took 100 years or whatever to get to the first computer, and then it took X amount of years from the first computer to get to the internet, and then like from where the internet started to now, like the advancement that it's multiplied by has increased by so much. You know what I mean? And you think too, like we're dealing with getting close to quantum computing being like a norm or a standard, and whenever quantum computing becomes a standard, that jumps regular computing to a whole nother exponential rate as far as speed and what can happen. And then, technology from there, where does it go? And where does this stuff come from too, though, right? You know what I mean? Like some of the advancements, it makes sense. It's over time, but some of it, it's like, where did that shit come from?
Right.
Like how do we figure that out? But
Makes you wonder.
mm-hmm. Like it was the theory with the pyramids, like that they were poured.
Yeah.
Like instead of actually being
That
like,
makes a lot of sense to me, man.
yeah, it makes more sense than
Oh, really?
Yeah.
like
Poured.
Yeah.
Like
They
poured
were
is
molded in place.
yeah, they were like formed, they made forms and poured it into place as opposed to hauling brick or fucking, stone cube by stone cube and then placing it that way. But, who knows?
What is it? What are the stones? Are they sandstone?
Who knows?
I don't remember what they're made out of exactly. I couldn't tell you. I do know though they say like the amount of time that it would take for them to build the pyramid, it's like what 100 something years or something crazy like that. And to think that they had that many of them built and as intricate as they were built and everything else.
So precise.
There's a lot of those though, like those old I guess not scientific, but those old kind of modern marvels or wonders where you see like things carved out of granite or stone that they didn't have the tools to, or you wouldn't think they had the tools to do it.
Or even the knowledge. Like something, you look at something like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and like the knowledge that those people had about just astronomy in general, which is like this thing's dated back like 13,000 years ago. Like there were really no known civilizations back then.
Same with the Incans, the Mayans, like, the ability with like the Mayan calendar and stuff. Or like even I always think like with that is specifically like their astrology and stuff, the ability to understand like eclipses and the ability to understand how to map the stars, where they had, when an eclipse hits, they have a pyramid, whereas the eclipse hits, the fucking snake appears on the stairs. You know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
Like just based off of the light and the eclipse itself. I mean, shit like that you wouldn't think. Or like the Nazca lines, like thinking about people did that, made these huge ass kind of mural designs where you couldn't see it. Like there's no way you could see it just from living there. You had to be way up above in order to be able to see any of the designs.
Because they're at the top of a mountain.
Yeah, and
it just happens to be like perfectly flat in a lot of places. Yeah, the Nazca lines are crazy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
No. Yeah, the
It's
Nazca
all
lines.
kinds of weird shaped like birds and shit.
Yeah,
Really?
like
But each line is like, several miles long. So from the ground, you wouldn't even know what the hell you were
if
doing.
you're just walking by it, you just think it's like a stone path.
Right.
You have to get that bird's eye view to actually be able to see any of it.
That's crazy.
There's what was the other one? The Nazca lines and I can't think of it.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, there's a lot about the Bermuda Triangle.
You guys ever heard of Sasquatch?
Right. Bigfoot. You guys want to go Bigfoot hunting? Dude, no lie. I think that'd be fun. That's when we eat shrooms right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Eat some shrooms and do some Bigfoot hunting.
It really makes you wonder how that stuff was done and how like there's so many commonalities between cultures all around the world. It just something doesn't make sense. Like there's definitely a lot missing to the story. Oh, I know what I was going to say. The dimensions. If you look at the pyramids, you can measure certain things, and when you combine, it's like the precession of the equinox, which is when the Earth spins, it kind of wobbles. So if you were to draw a straight line out from the axis that the Earth is on, that wobble goes around in a circle and it points at all these different constellations. And it takes I think it's like thousands of years for it to go through that cycle, but we know it precisely. It's like, how would you even know that if you weren't paying attention to that stuff? And they knew that stuff 13,000 years ago when they were doing, they were building all these huge monuments.
Yeah, could you imagine being like the first people to try to figure out stars, or like
Yeah.
to chart
Right.
stars and map
Right.
stars?
To even observe them long enough to understand that this is what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think that's just modern day arrogance, right? Because I mean, how did we get there?
right.
We had to have some kind of calculation formula that got us to the end result, right?
So the dimensions of the dimensions of the pyramid, I forget what it is. I watched it on a diet show, but you can actually calculate the circumference of the Earth at its equator, and it's all built into the dimensions of the pyramids.
Yep.
It's like, how would you know that?
Yeah,
And it's not coincidence.
no.
you
No.
know?
No.
No, and that's the thing, right? There's like a scientific precision throughout, like you're saying, kind of the interconnectability between different civilizations. You know, like different places, different people, yet they were still able to figure shit out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do shit that we look at with almost that arrogance. Like, there's no way they could do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we look at the shit that we can do. Obviously, we can do mesmerizing stuff. I mean, just to them, looking at a TV would be insane. You know what I mean? But you think like there's still that kind of thought process of like, how did they do that? Like, we don't even know how they could accomplish that.
Right. Imagine if there was a nuke and wiped out all of human population, and then, who knows, like 100,000 years from now, a new breed of humans pop up, and they
Right.
see the remnants of like the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, "How the fuck did these fuckers who didn't know shit, fucking carrying around sticks?"
They
and
had
stuff?"
nothing.
Right.
They built these buildings,
Yeah.
though. You know?
It's interesting because, like, I was watching something last night about how they designed Washington, D.C. with the monuments and the stone, and how they were emulating, some of the, some of these cultures from the past, that with all the, big marble pillars and stuff like that. And it's interesting if, 10,000 years, like, that stuff will still be there.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely. Everything else could be gone.
Right.
So, like,
think
could you
we make
imagine,
it
like,
into
stumbling
civilization?
upon that? Like, oh,
It
I
ain't
wonder what
looking
this
good,
was.
man.
Oh, look at these ruins. This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't
wonder
be surprised.
too. I wonder about that. Like, do we make it that long as that civilization? Probably not.
We need a bunker. That's what
Yeah.
we need.
I mean, like fucking Mount Rushmore. It's probably going to be there forever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was directly impacted by
Yeah.
something.
Unless it was fucking blown up, but
They'll be like, these aliens came down, laser etched their faces on a mountain, and took off. That's what our alien fathers look like. Everything else is just in ruins, and there's 4 faces.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's it. How did they get there?
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's looking good for us.
No, I don't
though.
either, dude. I don't either.
We're-
Like, I don't know what's the longest civilization that's been around. I don't know for sure. You know what I
Roman
mean?
maybe.
Maybe
that
that
we know of.
empire, but
Right.
even then, I mean, so they had other empires around the same time, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think, like, if you look at this iteration of human, whatever we are now, like, how long is it that we sustain as this kind of form? Like, there was Cro-Magnon man, or there was whatever there might be, like, and now at this form of what we are as a whole on planet Earth, it's only a matter of time before that kettle gets tilted enough.
Yeah, I
and
mean, we're
something
definitely
happens,
going to
right?
devolve to fucking gummy bears if we're going to go into this VR world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna change, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
but
it's
some
only,
people won't go there.
and that's when that matter of time before those people that don't go there end up creating something new, right? Because they have the ability to kind of take over in a sense when everybody's gummy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
for
that's
sure.
the next phase or the next iteration.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Right?
You almost can see the future.
Yeah, in a sense.
And all they had to do was fucking pull the plug.
Yep,
So
that's
what,
all it took.
So what do you do? What do you do? The power goes out everywhere. Some sort of solar flare. What's
Yeah.
your plan?
Man, Like right now?
It just happened.
Right
Yeah.
now.
It just
Just
happened. What
happened.
are you about to do?
Well, I guess we're done with the podcast, boys.
You go outside. People are freaking
No,
out.
I mean, we're going to finish this.
Yeah,
though.
we're gonna finish this conversation. And then, dude, we're gonna take some green dragon and we're going to figure out what the fuck. Like, no, but seriously though, like, what do you do? Like, if that happens, you know,
in chaos out the streets, people, gunshots, people, there's mass chaos.
Hard
People are
R's
dying.
being thrown around
Dude,
everywhere.
everywhere. fucking
Hard R's everywhere. You
hard
look.
R's on his horse. Dude. Let's ride. It's going, dude. Just going.
Tiki torch in
Oh
one
my
hand and
God,
a pitchfork in
dude.
the other.
Just-
We need to have a plan, man.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We talk about this all the time.
So
Do
listen,
you really?
here's the we definitely do.
Dude, we
because-
need to do it.
So listen,
We need a
head to our
doomsday
house. We got the
podcast. That's
cul-de-sac.
what we
All right.
We got the cul-de-sac,
All right.
and we can barricade it in. And the more able bodies we can get.
you need solar powered lights, like outdoor big floodlights. You need
Generators, you need
Generators,
You need
yep.
But you can't really get to gas because you're not going to be out cruising around.
so
like,
that's where you get solar power, and you make sure you have batteries that you can store solar power. But you not only that, you need to be able to have the know-how that if some shit happened,
Right.
you can divert that now to using it for.
So
all
one
the
of the
stuff we
guys,
have.
one of the guys in the cul-de-sac is a solar engineer. So
There we go.
Nice.
So we got him. So we
Yeah.
had Chris and I are
Holy
the
shit.
muscle,
Holy
at least
shit,
of the cul-de-sac.
dude! Just
Actually,
give me a
Brian-
microphone. I'll just broadcast from there.
Brian
You know?
could throw down. I feel like if he
Come
had
to
Chris and I will
cul-de-sac.
be the entertainment.
Yeah.
for at least a couple of minutes.
They'll just be broadcasting all day. Hey guys.
You guys won't be broadcasting. I think it would be on like CB radio
ham
Right.
radio.
or ham radio.
Ham radio.
Just out there, just fucking
Fuck that. We'll go
anybody
out
else?
fucking beatbox and shit.
Yeah, right.
Think about how important that would be to have the skills to know how to do ham radio.
Yeah.
Ham radio, but even just like what they do with the growing the plants and having an understanding
Oh,
of
hell
all
sure.
the plants.
See,
And-
that's, that's one of my
How to
like
grow
goals
shit.
in the long term would be to have like eventually I'd like to have a self-sustaining farm and live on a self-sustaining farm.
There you go.
So one of the things we're doing, we're putting in a natural swimming pool in the backyard
hmm
where it uses
Algae and stuff.
it uses the natural filtration process through that the earth used.
Dude, I talked to a guy that sold those, and I was like really intrigued on getting
They are
one.
freaking awesome.
They're badass.
They
man.
are really
They're
sweet.
Badass.
What? So it uses the soil?
It uses it's called a biofilter,
Okay.
and you pump the water through the biofilter, which is layers of sand and sediment,
Different
Yeah.
sediments.
layered in a way that it filters the bacteria out of the
Just like a drinking filter.
yeah. And they have other types of filters that will collect the bacteria, and it's called a micro film, which is like a film of bacteria that can grow on the surface of pools, and it collects it in one place so it doesn't propagate in the rest of the pool. So it basically, if the water is moving in the pool constantly and it's aerated through like a waterfall, it is
Wow.
like a natural. It's like the natural.
You
Yeah,
got a
it naturally
fucking, like, a
filters itself.
Giant
So-
swimming pool size Brita system.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's
You have like a pool and then a little side area with the.
so the crazy thing is and then you have plants that will also filter the you have natural aquatic plants that will filter
fauna and flora.
but you could have fish in there. You could have the water it's so much better for feeding plants
Yeah.
than like chlorinated tap
Right.
water. So it's like natural water from the earth.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah, that's badass.
And then in the event that the apocalypse rolls up, now you have all that water in your backyard and possibly
That's-
maybe
that's
fish
right.
in there.
That's right.
You know,
Nice.
Yep.
So we'll have we probably shouldn't be announcing this.
No, so then you take that idea though, and you
We live
expand
in
that out
Tempe.
into like the to like aquaponic gardens. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so
That's
Then
something
you're
I'd
growing
love
your
to learn.
fish. You're self-sustainable because we have fish growing, which is feeding the plants.
Yep.
and the plants are feeding the fish, and you can take the fish whenever you need,
And the
you
fish is
and-
feeding the weed.
Yeah, and the fish is
Nice.
feeding the weed.
Yep.
And it's all everybody's happy.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
that
mean?
would be a commodity. So you guys would have to come over to the cul-de-sac.
We'll be having feasts. You guys got to drop by.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. We'll be
For
there.
sure. Yeah. Y'all want some weed?
But also, because I thought about that, it's like, think about how important that would be. Like, let's say civilization does really crumble and we go, get set back or whatever. Like, knowing how to make alcohol or grow weed, like that would be huge.
Yeah,
sure.
you need to have some sort of commodities, right?
Yep.
Because there will be like you need to trade.
What are you gonna
need
trade?
to barter. you know
Money
what I
is
mean?
is no longer a
Yeah.
something that you're trading.
One of the big
Bullets.
things they've always talked about was like salt. Salt would be like a tradable,
Huge.
aspect or a tradable commodity at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because you
want
want to be drying or curing meats and
We
stuff
got
like that.
fucking Glendale and Dysart. There's
Oh,
a fucking
shit.
salt mine, right?
Is it really?
Oh, there's a big
We
salt.
have to go
farm.
rob that
We
place.
that would be the first thing we do. To answer your question, now that we talked about all
Okay.
this, tell you what, the first thing I do,
Salt mine.
this shit cuts off. We're going to the salt field.
No one else will be
We're-
there.
nobody else gonna
will
be there.
I mean, everybody's going to to Walgreens, like raiding the drugs, going to the grocery store. We're just filling up backpacks with salt.
We'd have blocks on our shoulders. It would last us forever.
Hey, how much salt can we pour in the back of your truck? Oh, we're gonna find out. It's just fucking. We just roll up to this spot. People are eating, and we're like, "Y'all need some salt?" Like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's crazy though how important that stuff would be if you had some.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
need an underground bunker too
Yeah.
that we could all retreat to. I was looking
Man.
at these the other night. This guy took a missile silo and converted it into luxury facilities for people that wanted to buy them. So some of them started at like $3 million, and some of them like I think the lowest was like $1 million, and they had it was like in this they had a pool, they had a workout facility, they had schools, they had a library, like in this entire
shit.
thing. Yeah.
Dude, the
Wow.
prices of missile silos went up.
Right.
Because I was looking before the pandemic and shit. I'm not even bullshitting, man. Like you could find some for like 200 grand, or like 300 grand, where you could buy a fucking missile silo, an underground missile silo. Not anymore, dude.
Really?
But I always thought that would be one of the coolest things to have.
Hell
For
yeah.
sure.
You know what I mean? Because you could do a lot with that.
Oh yeah.
You could go shrooms. You
Oh,
could
yeah.
grow like cheese. You can do all sorts of shit with that, man. You could-
How would you do cheese?
So whenever you're like the molds and stuff, whenever you're growing it as it's underground, the darkness and the moisture and the coolness of it actually will help the cheese like mature and stuff whenever you're growing it. There's somebody that I was reading about that they did that. They turned in like this underground silo into like a cheese factory or a cheese farm, basically.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And you could do like, I mean,
What makes it? Is it the cool temperatures of inside the earth?
yeah,
that
just
makes it-
and being down there that like so.
A lack of UV.
Yeah, the lack of the light, the obviously it's like a port facility, so it's cool, it's dark, it's damp. You can control it better as far as if you need to add heat or anything, you can always do that. You could add light to it, but it's already naturally at a level where you don't have to worry about elements. You know what I mean? It's easier to maintain,
Yeah.
and you can control it better. And same with like mushroom farms. Same thing, cool, damp, dark areas. You can use that. You can make mushroom farms, not just for like psychedelic shrooms, but for edible shrooms.
I think those are just called mushrooms.
Yeah.
No. We need to.
No.
We need to
Shrooms,
make sure
they're
that
all
we link
shrooms.
up with them. For
Yeah.
sure.
How do you know you smoke a lot of weed? You start calling regular mushrooms edible shrooms.
Hey, you know what? I didn't even notice I did that either, man. They're all edible shrooms. Not just shrooms, but I mean like shrooms, you know?
So the shrooms that
Yeah.
gonna grow.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should. Should this get edited out?
Timestamp that.
We'll bleep it out.
A radio edit.
I'll change. I'll ask you guys off the air.
We'll talk about those plans later. Shit. We're at like 2 hours and 20 minutes though.
Wow.
So maybe we should go ahead and just jump off here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could at the very least take a break.
Yeah. I'm down to do more, man, but it's up to y'all. But fuck. It's good to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
That was
us.
a
A
good
couple hours.
That was a good
Yeah.
time.
Mike, Chris, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Fucking got to talk a little bit about Masters Worlds, which was awesome. And we ended
Got
up
a little bit of a plan of
yeah, I was gonna
what
say,
we're
we
gonna
ended
do
up
in the
like Doomsday
apocalypse.
and Matrix and fucking.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was a good time.
All right, fellas. Well, let's do this shit again, huh?
Yeah.
Figure out like a fight night and
That'd be-
fucking
that'd be
some other
fun.
times for sure.
Definitely down for that.
All right, everybody, man. Good to talk to you guys again. Tomato cans, we out.
Peace.
Peace.